2:02. So we're 02 minutes.
02 minutes.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's all right. I mean, Sharif's going to channel his inner Brian Johnson and start that anti-aging.
Leave him with a thought.
Yeah, guys, volatile markets. We're starting to get into earnings season. That's going to be some good times. We're going to get some nice, clean movements, as you've seen here on JPM. It is Friday, guys, so don't ruin it if you're positive. Just enjoy the show. Katina Man and them are going to give you guys some trades and entertainment as well.
See you guys in a bit.
No, don't apply too much pressure to us. Entertainment.
305.
I mean, how are we going to entertain these guys?
305. I mean, come on, Sharif. That's light.
I thought Sharif was strong.
That's light work, son. That's light work.
I keep hearing these rumors. This guy knows what he's doing. 300 pounds.
Yo, this is 3
benching 300 pounds.
3.05 pounds right here.
Oh, he meant pounds, not ounces. My bad. Okay.
305 pounds. What? Look how casually he's saying that stuff. Like it's nothing. Oh, come on, man. Like, trust me. I remember in university, like on the track team, like there used to be some football guys that would work out with the track team, right? So they'd come to practices with us just to do drills to get faster. And then you'd hit the weight room after. And so you'd be, instead of lifting with other track guys who are all like lean and weakened-ish, there'd be a few boys in there who could lift. I'm telling you, these dudes are like linebackers, bigger than Sharif. Like 305 pounds is no joke. This market's also no joke. Up almost 2% today. I mean, the recovery.
In a minute, though. Let it. Wait.
It's one of the. I feel like this today had this like. There's just nothing bad happening, so maybe we're just gonna drift up, and that's what it feels like. Nvidia 3 points today. Apple 4 points today. Intel sucks. Chinese names held up well. I know I'm short NEO, but there was a long into the high of the day as well.
China.
Tesla was an absolute dog all day, and now it's above VWAP, only down a point. Like, it's just a heck of a lot going on, but it's been a fun one for sure. Bitcoin over 84,000, just so much happening here. It's not gigantic volatility like we've seen the last couple of days, but sometimes just a solid 2% up day, there's nothing wrong with that. So we'll be able to maybe have some fun this afternoon, crack a cold one potentially.
We are going to. We want to. We'll celebrate. We've had a good weekend. We had a good week here. We've had some great super chats. We want to celebrate with that. So we're just going to wait for the Chilean Nightmare to get back here and Joe and all that. And then when we're ready to go, we're ready to go. Yeah, we're going to wait. Yeah. What is BTL? Huh? Behind the scenes. Yeah, we're going behind the scenes. Yeah, we're going to go. Oh. You're going to see the Chilean one coming up very, very soon. The Chilean Nightmare. We're all going to have a drink. Yeah, you can even sit right there. Yeah, there we go. Okay.
BTS.
As soon as Ramina's ready, we're going to go on that. But thank you, everybody, for joining us.
There we go.
Are we ready to go? Okay, here we go.
I'm not ready yet.
What do you mean we're not ready yet? You got to hop on your mic. You got to put the mic on. We just want to thank Long This. He had mentioned yesterday Moosehead. I'll give you, there it is, Moosehead. So we got the nice Canadian lager, no tariffs. So, all right.
Yeah, no tariff. The no tariff lager right here, guys.
So let's crack this open. We want to thank everybody for their support.
1860, listen to that.
All right, cheers, Neil.
Cheers.
You're a nice, good
All right, cheers, Chilean.
Cheers, everybody.
All right, let's do this.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
All right, load up my buying power. Let's go. No.
YOLO it, YOLO.
Once it hits your lips.
Cheers, everybody. Yeah, thanks. No wonder why she doesn't want one. I get 990, 10. No, just all right. Thank you so much,
my
everybody.
bench just went from 305 to 275 with that right there.
What happened to your dog? What's the story with your dog?
305.
Oh, good. Yeah. Well, Joe's a sports guy. He's a hockey guy. Of course, he probably puts them back with the boys every once in a while. So shout out to that. And cheers to everybody. If you want to join us, please do that. We'll be having some sips throughout. It's not like an SEC violation or anything like that. I don't think you can. I think that's
okay. So it's not an SEC violation, but we said this before. There used to be a thing sometimes on the trading floor. This is years back. You remember when we were at St. Clair? Mm-hmm. There was a sports bar next to the office that it was just a regular place to go. So on Thursdays, Fridays, the floor would be out there. Usually, happy hour, that kind of thing. A tendency happened on Friday where you'd start to see traders go to the bar at lunch.
Yeah, you're like wondering where is everybody?
And that's different. It's one thing. Look, man, you want to have one. It's not going to really affect you, but the whole liquid lunch and come back and trade the clothes, that turned into a hard no. You guys got to stop doing that because you just have at least one guy would come back and then just get shut themselves down. You got to put a stop to that. Like whatever, one's not going to. But there were a few people that were, you know what I'm saying, not naming any names.
I mean, I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, you know exactly who I'm talking about too.
I don't know if Long This knew this, but this is what it says on here. So this is Moosehead. This Canadian logger is dedicated to those who have the courage to turn obstacles into opportunities and the passion that makes a hard day's work so rewarding.
That's a great quote. Do they always do that on the Moosehead?
I mean, we don't. I mean, I feel like I don't. It's that whole thing where if you do like what you love, you don't not working at all.
You never work if you work a job you love. You never work a day in your life or something. Mm-hmm. It's so true.
Canadian logger Moosehead actually haven't. You're probably right along this. I don't think we've had this. I've had this since university probably.
University
school. Yeah, 19.
No, a university for sure. For sure.
Here in Ontario, the legal drinking age is 19. Right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. You know why? And you know why? Well, it took me a
only
second,
because in the States, 21, right?
Well, in first year university, my birthday's in December. Like in first year university, I didn't turn legal age until like you're already through, which made it was Frosh Week was interesting, and that's when I dubbed myself the person that could get in under any situations. I was talking my way into places that I. Anyways, well, is what it is. But I wasn't. It's frustrating. You go first year university and you couldn't.
Yeah.
But
yeah. It's too bad Randy's not here. We'll have to celebrate with him soon as well. But thank you so much to everybody who continues. No, man, Elon Musk was smoking a joint on Joe Rogan on YouTube. I think we're probably...
you think that was wild?
Okay.
You see the Alex Jones when they were drinking and stuff?
I'm going to go right to Canna Cabana. I'll be right back.
Yo, like I'm not endorsing Alex Jones or anything, but that episode was lit. It was lit.
Literally lit?
No, but think about it for a second. Like, he's a little bit of a eccentric human being.
Elon Musk?
No, I'm talking about Alex Jones.
Oh, Alex Jones.
You put some stuff in that guy, and it was like, what am I watching right now?
Oh, I couldn't see that one.
I couldn't stop watching it. And again, I'm not endorsing Alex Jones.
Kind of sounds, Alex Jones.
Yeah, I'm not that guy, but it was fun. It was definitely fun to watch.
All right. Yeah, look, there is going to be some trading discussion,
of course,
happening here today, and it starts now with the rundown. Let's go, Sharif.
It'll be Apple.
Welcome, everyone, to the Afternoon Rundown, the show where you decide what we talk about every afternoon. The boys are ready, locked and loaded, and ready to look at the tickers as decided by you. But the only way to get those tickers up there and have your say is to join Joseph and I on the midday and get it to the chat and vote for your favorite tickers every day. But you've got to be a subscriber in order to vote and engage with us in the chat. So make sure you're liking, subscribing, and sharing. Here's a look at the triple Qs, guys. We're up about 1 2/3% on the triple Qs. Definitely not recovering yesterday's losses, but not a bad look nonetheless. We'll keep an eye out on that. The first ticker, as decided by you guys, NVIDIA. And a decent day for NVIDIA, up 2 3/4. The reason that this is a Taiwan Semi headline is because they reported massive Q1 revenue growth driven by, you guessed it, AI. And one of their biggest consumers, guys, is NVIDIA, up nicely on the day. Possible tailwind with Taiwan Semi.
Well, that's good because you had Amazon talking about how they're not going to need the expensive chips as much anymore and doing it their own way and maybe pulling back a little bit. So when that headline came yesterday, you're thinking, could that weigh on NVIDIA? Nope. Apparently not. So NVIDIA's up 2.5 points today. What's wild is, I know a lot of stocks will look like this. We're at the point where when you pull up a 15-minute chart, our nice upward trending 2.7% up day looks like trash. Like, it looks like nothing happened today in NVIDIA in retrospect. And you have to adjust to it in this market. And sometimes you're going to have to flip in and say, okay, we're not in the same environment as the day before. Because when we get this barcode, before we had all this volatility, I promise you almost everybody would have been, this is a great day to trade NVIDIA. Look at it hold a pre-market low and it'll bounce back, and look at it hold a higher low and then trend up and bounce off VWAP. Because of what we've seen the last couple of days, it doesn't seem like this was really that great to trade. And I'll cop to not trading it because of that, but it was clean. An inside day with a very clean uptrend after it broke. And those sellers that were at 110 and a half earlier, starting to turn into some buying up there. They hadn't been able to hold above 110 and a half, but they're starting to be able to do that. If this candle kind of resolves with a bit of an upward trend, I would pivot from saying buy VWAP to maybe look at the long over 110.50. But VWAP's been gold on NVIDIA. I think they needed to have an update, especially you don't want to see headlines of the hyperscalers talking about not needing or the cost of AI going down. Like, that's bad for NVIDIA. So the fact that they're buying into it, at least for now, is a good thing. VWAP has looked very good for sure.
All right, I mean, up 3%, it says this whole story. I mean, good bounce off there. VWAP was touched there. Great play up to from 109.50 up to 111.50. I mean, NVIDIA's gonna, I think this is one of the plays that we need to buy if it does get back into here. The AI story should be, I mean, whoa, there's our charts. It's relatively in its infancy, this story, and that's what we keep on hearing anyways, right? Like, OpenAI was, what, a year and a half, 2 years ago, maybe Microsoft put that investment in there. So, we're still getting ready to go. NVIDIA has, a few levers to pull there. For me, AMD was the bigger surprise today just because they're up almost 6%, and we're up 6%, I believe, near the highs as well. So AMD, like, if you like the space, many chips, there's room for all of them. Obviously, the bigger ones, the higher powered ones will be the NVIDIA chips, but AMD also looking really good. What a battle back for SOXL. SOXL has been a wild ride. I mean, most of you that would have traded this know exactly what I'm talking about. The 3X levered ETF. I mean, what a dramatic. SOXS is another one. We had Steve Tileman on yesterday from Trade the Pool, and he had talked about that as well. So, I mean, big moves down. I think if you like the space, you might as well buy some SOXL right here and watch it off of this $9 or $8 mark. But yeah, definitely some nice upside potential here if and when this market once again gets cooked. So we'll hear about it. I like it. The first name we saw next week, we saw on Thursday, I believe it was, ASML starts. So we'll hear a little bit about that as they're fabricating all of this stuff. So if they have a good outlook, if they even guide at all, I mean, it's going to be tough with the tariff situation, but I think we're just getting started here with some of these names. Intel is not on the list, which is surprising, actually. Intel has been, whoa, hello, okay, my bad. Intel's nice, fine. We went long there, dropped it. Nice move back for Intel, only down 3%. I thought it was going to be down a lot worse than that. But nice little battle back there for Intel. It looks like this could be another one of those names that if we're talking about America and all that kind of stuff and trying to find support there, I think the big worry is with the CHIPS Act or whatever that was there, right? Them receiving money there. And because I remember when Trump did his State of the Union, or it wasn't, but his speech to Congress there, and mentioned that CHIPS Act was one of the worst things that they've sort of come up with.
Doesn't like it.
So maybe Intel gets some of that money's pulled back. So we'll have to wait to see what's going on with that. But for now, Intel on watch. I think that's going to be the one that we short if and when the market turns around.
All right, here is a look at Apple, guys. Trading at 198 1/3. Good day for Apple, up 4%. There's really no headline on it. It really is more of a tariff story. We got word today from Carolyn Levitt during the White House press conference that the administration is certainly open to negotiating with China. We're just going to have to wait to see if China is willing to reciprocate, guys.
Apple rocket ship today. So when I was talking about the lesson, when I did the lesson of the day today, one of the things I was sort of getting at is if you have a trading strategy or a trade or whatever it might be, whoops, I accidentally draw a trend line there. Get rid of that and then rescale in a second. I'll just rescale it this way, and there we go. So if you have a strategy, when it doesn't work, that's fine. But what I ask myself is, okay, so if I take 2 trend reversals, this was a trend reversal early on Apple, another one there on Apple. It was a better example with Intel because I could show you that like 1 trend reversal on, say, Walgreens was able to pay for like 4 wrong ones on Intel because you try to hold it for the move. When it doesn't work, just make sure you get out. The point here is that Apple, despite looking really, really bad early on, and despite having an awful go of it recently, you think they're not insulated from China, and everyone's talking about the worry, but maybe the worst is in. You're up 4 points today. Like Jim Cramer was talking about how we reevaluate Apple as a long term. and we're going to be up 4%, it feels as if everyone's just like, it can't get any worse right now. The only thing that's a problem is that $200 top that we had from our squeeze day is still your high, and it's a Friday, and as Joe has pointed out, it's going to take a lot to get you through 200 on a day like today. A lot, and we don't have that kind of volume going through right now. So it does feel like there's going to be a chance to fade it if it was one more push into 200 at the end of the session here. But yeah, strong day for Apple. I'm fortunate enough that there was enough that worked because I was looking short and wasn't able to find good entries. There was fortunately enough things that were able to revert for me that did work out. But yeah, Apple, good for them. I still look. I'm not selling any of my. I didn't sell any of my Apple, but I have to admit, there's a lot of things that if they get to the 50 and 200 period, I think I'd be trimming some in this environment. So if we extend, there's a lot of things on that bucket that I'd be considering trimming. Because like what I have sold is like none of it's been Mag 7. I'll tell you that right now. Well, it's just not true. I sold some Tesla 280. Do we call them Mag 7 anymore, Tesla?
Tesla's not, I don't think, no, they're not in.
They're not. Okay, so then I haven't sold a single Mag 7 this year at any point.
Meta, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Apple. And if you are tired of staring at charts all day, what if a robot could trade for you? Meet Forex Vim. Forex Vim is an AI-powered trading bot that scans markets 24/7, executes trades automatically, and even manages the risk for you. No emotions, no guesswork, just precision trading on autopilot. It works on MT4. Specializing in gold trading and comes with an easy setup and customer support. Want free trading, stress-free trading? Try Forex Vim today. Visit forexvim.com or click the link in the description box. Thank you to Forex Vim, of course. All right, so just real quickly here, just for a talk. So oh yeah, that was pretty funny right there. I wanted to show you the sticky note because we had written down here Apple short in this area, 193 to 194. So what did we do? We're still green on Apple. And I think that just becomes obvious with better risk management, and we had that today. So we actually went short early, which was great. That was 193 right there, right on the nose. We actually got it filled down there at 189 and change. So that's $3 and change on Apple all the way down. Then we shorted it again. It was good until it wasn't. Short and out, and then there's the last time. So it broke and we got right back in. That was on that wick higher. Again, a lot of news popping in through at that time. Then there's 194 and change. We're in and out there as it rips back to the upside. We only wanted this thing at 194. So when we don't have it there, we pass. I said to Joe on the midday show, I was like, I didn't say it to Joe, I was actually talking to Neil about it. And I said, I think Apple has 200 in it. It got pretty close to that. There's 200, bounce off of it. Now I think we just wait. The market's now coming underneath. This is much more aggressive than the market. It took off well before the market did. So little dip buy opportunities here. VWAP 200 period, I think that's worth it. Apple, obviously worried about it. But if Jim Cramer said we need to reevaluate, maybe it's time to load up. So we'll have to wait to see what happens with Apple right now. I still like the stock. They're the number one consumer satisfaction, whatever that stat was there with their products. People love the product. Will the iPhone be $3,500 at a retailer near you soon? I doubt it. We'll figure that out. Apple will get it all figured out. Remember the one thing that, look, it's not like it's a rocket science lever that can get pulled here, but Trump can obviously do individual company restrictions or pauses and say, you know what, Apple, based on this much revenue, it's this tariff, or whatever those numbers look like, right? It's like that BS dairy number that he keeps on using. That is just a tariff based on if the U.S. consumes, 1 million gallons or whatever of milk from Canada, then the tariff kicks in at a certain level. I wonder if something like that can be done here with a lot of these electronics in China.
Well, because Apple did that big investment, right? So that's one of the reasons people speculate it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Before we throw back and go,
they're just a huge taxpayer.
Music in the chat with the super chat. Appreciate you. Good quote. An apple a day keeps the doctor away, but I scalp it before lunch and short it after dinner.
Oh, right.
Must be trading those.
Trading in Europe.
Blue ocean market.
Oh, okay. I was wondering if maybe he's trading in Europe or
just
somewhere else.
It moves. The markets are more or less 24/7 these days. It's not just crypto. You can trade pretty much all of the most liquid names you're able to trade in the aftermarket these days if you have Blue Ocean, including, are you sure you can trade the Qs?
Yes, I would say so. Probably something like that. Oh, that's next. All right, let's go over to Sharif and talk about the NASDAQ, my favorite.
Yeah, it's green, guys. I mean, that's a nice change. Up 1 1/3. Certainly not at the highs, but up nicely. No specific catalyst. Obviously, this is the NASDAQ. But Bill Ackman today coming in saying the forced selling was by leverage trades for market chaos. He says investors are reading too much into short-term market movements, guys. So interesting take from Bill Ackman.
So we, we started the day short, and it was basically, for me, it's still going to be my P&L number one. We'll talk about some of the trades we've been in since, but again, just the pre-market high. I can show you the sticky note again. Well, maybe it doesn't matter. We had it written down there 40. Well, I'll show it to you just so you guys can see it. I mean, most of you already know about it. 47.50 right there. So that's what we written down on the sticky note. It came up to 47.40. So that was right there. That's why we wrote it down. We also looked back into yesterday's top as well, which is why we said 47 to 48, right? Like, weren't sure. I don't think it's important to get the exact levels for some of these stocks. So especially when you're in the futures, it's going to go up and down. It's going to, you could get wicked out, stopped out, things like that. So we'll just take a position there. We actually took a decent one because it was our starting position there. So if a 10 units was our max, we probably had 5 there, which makes sense. So we started it little light, waited for the price, and then it was pay dirt. The only thing that we did was we had put in early that, and I actually forgot we had this in there, so thankfully that was only 1 unit, but we had put in there that if the market broke the low of the day of the pre-market, then we wanted the short. So, I put a stop in to get out that way, but my stop to get more shares still triggered. So once that happened, we were able to, maybe I can zoom in a little bit. We did take the short, whoopsies. We did take the short there right into here, and that we were only able to get out of a little bit before we finally, so again, 40% out there, the rest out there a little bit. So that was net not great to end it there. We gave it back, I think, 10 to 15%, but then it just ripped, and all afternoon we didn't short it yet. So just waiting. I'm not sure if the short is right, so we'll have to still wait on that right now. It's nice to see the NASDAQ back. We were down, 100, sorry, not 100 handles. We were down or up the other day from 40 up to 50. We gave a little bit back there, about halfway into 45, and now we're almost all the way back up. So we'll have to see 48, the high of the day there when we were up 10%. So another $5, and then we get right back. We cover that up. I think that's important to get above where we were that day on the NASDAQ. I'm still a buyer down here next time we get in. Three signatures down here, I'll take it. I like to buy TQs if we can get it at 38, something like that. But anyways, that's the NASDAQ. It's a pretty good trade today.
And the other thing you got going on, too, is when you see that turn in the NASDAQ, well, there's been a couple of them, but specifically the one at 12:30 where it broke out, you had a lot happening at the same time to give you confidence. The VIX was breaking the support at $40, and TLT was also breaking a major level, and that's what gave, where is it? I had to go to a 3-minute chart. That's the problem with the 15-minute chart. The last 2 days make the 15-minute chart look ridiculous. But that breakout that you had in the afternoon, which really turned it into a trend long, because for most of the morning it was just short the top and back to the bottom, and it looked relatively weak. But that breakout, you had a lot of confluence. So you still, even though it's not that volatile a market today, you're still getting signals from the VIX, you're still getting signals from treasuries, and you do want to watch it. Like, that's the moment where, with the exception of, all right, I said I was long, Neil, on that break, but with the exception, like, everything turned into a long, I think, in the afternoon, and you got away from your shorts. I'm in Neo because it got to that 350 level, but ultimately, if you were flipping or you were biased in the short side, that was the point at which you'd flip, because you had both the VIX and TLT all telling you the same story. And Google, which we're talking about next, is another one of these Mag 7 names that just... It's just been really solid. You can't say anything bad about the trend that they've had up. It is a nice melt up. This feels like a very regular day. It feels like a very much 2024 kind of day for the Mag 7, not Tesla.
All right, guys. Google. Yes, sorry, Google next, up 2 1/3 right here. UBS chiming in on Google today, maintaining their neutral rating, but lowering the price target down from 209 in to 173. So a bit of a tougher look there. Separately, the European Commission president warning that there's going to be no winners to this, only losers, referring to the tariffs, saying that Meta, Google, and other big U.S. tech firms could end up paying up if Trump tariffs talks collapse, warns the European Commission president.
All right, President. Yeah. The thing about Google to me is that when we look over here and we just have a quick little look and we see what the PE is and whatnot of Google, you're just going to see right into here. It's pretty affordable at these levels of 17 with a forward of just 19. 17 forward current of 19. Like, that's pretty ridiculous. Forget about the industry average over 100, but for Google, that's real low. So this is a Mag 7 name. So if you're going to try to get some value, I mean, it is now priced underneath the S&P 500. S&P 500 PE something around 21. So yeah, Google I think is affordable by the dip situation. The only question for me about Google is, again, what about search, right? I mean, how much of Chat or any of these other bots, Grok or anything like that? I know for myself, and I mean, I see Sharif do it all the time. I mean, many people are doing this, going to one of the LLMs instead of just simply asking Google, right? Like, so we used to just call up Google and type in like, where to go to dinner or whatever, and then a whole bunch of things would come up, and then they'd get revenue from the links and the clicks and all that, right? And now that's sort of gone. Now, obviously, if you're using Gemini, I'm sure there's a way to monetize that, but Google's they're not run, like, they know what they're doing. I'm going to assume that this is not, my worry is obviously something that they've probably been worried about for a minute. So I would just like to hope that they're going to be able to figure it out. Today, it's been and it's still a big holding in mine. I don't know if it's number one anymore because of how far it's come back in. But if you're going to dip buy something, I just think with the PE, at least you have that kind of protection against the other names. And then we know that YouTube, and thank you for everybody for watching us live on YouTube right now, that is such a huge growth generator for them that I don't know if they can monetize it anymore. I know YouTube TV has actually just gone up in price as well, so I wonder if there's going to be pushback there. And I know that the competitive landscape as far as cloud is definitely ramping up there with Amazon catching a piece of that, and Microsoft with Azure and all. So there's lots of competition there, but I still like Google, man. I think they have Waymo, which could be something at some point. I don't know. Lots of different options there for Google, and again, just beat up a lot. I think it's safe to dip buy it if we do get one of those cracks again. But I could understand if you don't want to get behind it. I think this is the first time that I ever remember where Google, there's probably just as many headwinds as there are tailwinds. I mean,
people seem pessimistic about it.
Yeah, exactly. Pessimistic is a good word.
Yet, people seem to like these quantum plays. Like, you can't like Rigetti or any of them, D-Wave or just pick what's the other one, QBTS.
Yeah.
You can't like those without recognizing that, hey, when breakthroughs get made, you're also going to have Alphabet and IBM at the forefront of this as well. So let's be real. Like, you get a little bit of everything with Alphabet. It's just that right now everything is based upon search. And they got some levers that they can pull to be much more and start diversifying. It's just everyone's waiting for it to happen. But isn't that what taking shots is about? Like when you buy something that you think is going to increase in value, it's because you think something is going to fundamentally change in their business. And so getting away from search and that diversification, which I think they have the ability to, and at that price, I think it makes them attractive as well. Just one note, it's a very, very distinct and quality trend line that it's making right now. If it breaks it, I kind of think I'd probably turn bearish this afternoon. It's not often that you get this clean of a dip trend on Alphabet. I just noticed, we just pulled it up and like, ooh, look at that. Let's draw a trend line in there because it's been holding for the entirety. The morning trend line holds with this dip in the afternoon and is currently barely holding on to it. This is a trend line on a 3-minute chart. Easy to pick those bottoms out. Not hard to see. I think if you break this, I'd probably try a short. Looks like it could happen any second now, actually.
All right, guys, last on the list here is Meta. Several headlines on this one. Let's start with this one. UBS maintaining their buy on Meta, but lowering that price target down to 265 from 786. Separately, ByteDance is apparently developing AI smart glasses, looking to take on Meta here. Obviously reports the information. And last but not least, couldn't find the headline on this one, but it reported on this morning, the trial for Meta for anti-competitive behavior starts on Monday, guys. The FTC taking Meta to court, looking for them to divest Instagram and WhatsApp.
I mean, there's another large language model coming through at some point. Yeah, look, I mean, I saw this. I saw someone post something yesterday. So when Mark Zuckerberg bought Instagram, I don't know if it was 2018. I can't remember the exact. Maybe it was a little bit earlier than that. Instagram had 13 employees. Instagram had something like 20 million users. He paid $1 billion for it and was mocked for doing that. All right. Then through American, ideas built on American soil, employed American employees, they grew the company to where now it's worth apparently $114 billion. So he put $1 billion of Meta's money into it at Facebook at that time. Now it's worth $114 billion. It continues to pay, I think it's third or fourth amount of tax in the United States. They are one of the biggest, obviously, social media companies around right now, and they have changed the landscape of that. But why are these guys investigating like American ingenuity when they're the ones developing all of this, and now we're going to start to punish Meta somehow for just becoming too big? It's actually a joke. And if you think about, and I'm surprised, like I hope that Trump gets involved in this as well, because it must be all show. Because I just feel that China goes the other way. Right? They're like, oh, YouTube and Google. Now, Facebook, we're going to ban that stuff in China because it's not Chinese.
It's
right?
It's lip service.
And then the United States is TikTok. They're like, okay, yeah, it's no problem. So I don't know, man. So I just say cheers to everybody. They're a strong American company. I'm with Meta on this.
You hear all of this nonsense about, they're always talking about break up this, and they've been doing this for years. But there's never any teeth, because why would you... These big tech companies, why would you want them housed? Well, you don't want the EU to have the Google of the world, or the Amazon of the world, or the Meta of the world. If you have that advantage, you don't give it up. That being said, for certain obviously political reasons, sometimes you have to show that you're against the billionaires. Right. That's just part of the game, as far as I'm concerned. That's why you always see these, like, let's slap the wrist for these small fines that end up meaning nothing. So I always look at that and say it means to a certain extent you're doing a good job, right? Like you always see that with the banks. Okay, when they're not getting those slaps on the wrist, they're not pushing the envelope. And I get it. You can talk ethics all you want. We're talking about quality companies and making money, so that's just how it works. As far as the day goes, you can't necessarily. We were just showing you how strong. I mean, Google looks, Apple looks, NVIDIA had a strong upside today. Meta's is a bit different. Meta is down a point into an up market. I know it's above the volume weighted average price, but it's been a dog today. Unfortunately, there's just been nothing strong about it. Not much reason to get excited. I was really hoping. Hope was the right word, because after this week, hoping it would get above and hold the 200 period moving average, I do believe was just a leap of faith. This is one. If it were to get to the 50, I don't know that I'd be a seller of Meta up there. I might sell Apple, some Apple, maybe like 5% or something like that, if it got to that price. But I'm a little disappointed in Meta, and this has me. Like, if we close this way, Meta is sort of poised that next week on weakness, it has a strong possibility to retest 500. It just doesn't seem to have the buyers in it today with the rest of the Mag 7. So it's just something that's worth observing at this point. I don't really see much of a trade on it. It's Google, which is threatening to break a trend line in there as well. So I think that's a little bit more exciting for a trade. Outside of that, let us know what you guys are looking at for sure. Hertz Scrambler says Palantir dog today. Is it really?
That's my dog.
No, I wouldn't think Palantir. Yes, this is part of the thing. Like every chart just looks so.
It is a dog today.
Unimpressive because of the last couple of sessions. Yeah, it's like Meta's chart. It is kind of just a dog today. It's just an inside day. You held some higher lows. Hey, look at the buy at 85.5. That would have worked out for you. Yeah, it's a very.
Oh, here we go. When are we cracking a beer? What long this?
Long this, we already did.
Where are you, man? We already did the whole thing, man. I went and got you your Moosehead. We want to say thank you so much to Long This guy. Many super chats there. So cheers, Neil. Hey, what's up, Fabian's over there as well. And then Joseph. The quiche. You got the quiche going on over there. Shout out to Sharif.
You got enough quiche?
Yeah, he got a little bit of quiche there. Three of those going on there. Might be some sugar in that, Sharif. Go check that out. But thank you so much again, Long This. And there it is. I'll show it again. Another super chat. Thank you so much. Obi is actually also going to be participating. I was going to have him sit over there with Adara and crack the beers. He's like, well, I'm cracking beers after market, baby. So I was like, yeah, no worries. Maybe. Yeah, I know he's playing. I know.
Wait, what?
Diablo, apparently, he's playing. All right, so that's from Sharif. Sharif, but anyways, thank you so much, Long This, and I'll say much appreciated as I type that in the chat right there. Thank you so much for that. And yeah, we went there and went to our local LCBO. So for six of these are tall boys. 473 milliliters.
34.
You can ask ChatGPT to put that into ounces for you if you want. How much? I wonder how much people in the chat thinks it was for 6 of these beers. We are relatively taxed here in Canada, to say the least.
Relatively taxed. That's a really nice way of putting it.
Especially on items that you like to enjoy. Well, first of all, look, I know cigarettes are horrible, but a pack of those is like $22 or something like that. Absolutely ridiculous. So, each one of these are 16 ounces. Is that right? Okay. So 6 of these. All right. And this is Canadian made, moose, hence Moosehead right there anyways. All right. People putting it in. Actually, you know what? It's not actually that bad. It was $16. That's it.
Sean B said 97. You crazy?
Yeah, 16 Canadian dollars, otherwise known as like
$11,
11 or 12 US
11,
for
12
six. Like,
it's not that bad.
I didn't find it that bad.
There's a lot of stuff we do know. We pay too much for a lot of things here in Canada. Some things are not.
Pay much for much our freedom.
Not that bad. Canadian beer is not that bad.
Freedom is priceless.
Yes.
If you drive on our roads, you wouldn't think that we paid too much for repair. Because
they're doing some
potholes are. Yeah, go ahead.
No, they're putting in some like water line stuff. Water main stuff around my neighborhood.
That's not as bad.
No, those are
upgrades.
Look, they got to do it, but it's like, oh my, because there's a school and then our subdivision, and it's like the main road to get in our subdivision, which is adjacent to the school, which like it gets used a lot, and it's like a pain in the butt getting home. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. But our roads are also piss in Toronto. Toronto, GTA, doesn't really matter. It's the same thing where I am.
Thing is that the weather, it's so up and down.
That's the problem. There's
so much build happening here too. You get huge trucks on the road, and then the weather one day is, as we told you, I just tweeted it out the other day, it was like felt like minus 16, and then the very next day it was like plus 10 or something like that. So yeah, roads having a problem dealing with all of that. They got to figure out that pavement thing. Plus we're tearing up all the bike lanes. So for me, you're tearing up my heart. Yeah, you sing it, Sharif, man. You know what, Sharif? I was thinking about this. If day trading and this doesn't ever work out for you, which it is, so that's great. I think you could be like a little pop star. I think you know what I'm saying?
True story.
Rips off the shirt.
Sharif,
all of that stuff.
When Sharif comes in the morning, and Darren knows this is true as well. 99% of the time, Sharif comes in like humming or singing some kind of an 80s or 90s tune.
That's true.
Almost every, and he puts it in your head.
But that's great.
Yeah, it is. It's
just
awesome.
Singing NSYNC right over here.
Braxton for a while.
Ooh, yes. Tony Braxton, that
Unbreak My Heart.
Yeah, Unbreak My Heart.
Tony Braxton.
Hold on, Adara. When I hum, do you not like hum back in your own?
Yeah, we do not enjoy it. We're just acknowledging the reality of the situation.
Yeah,
we love
fair. I'm not the only hummer around here.
He is not.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Why so mad? I think it's a good thing. I was trying to say like Sharif is a fun guy. Like I'm trying to say Bill puts up the spirit around here. I love the singing.
Phrasing.
And he's like, I just want to make one thing clear, everyone. I'm not the only one that hums around here.
Phrasing.
You know what I'm saying? Give me those 300-pound bench press this right in front of everybody. Okay,
305 bench press.
Wait, yeah. When he was in college, okay? When he was in college.
305.
Right now he's only 295, okay? So relax.
305.
Okay. Long this again with another super chat. I mean, I said we'd get to some trading here today. We may or may not. Okay, so what is, thank you to Long this, another one. Mickey's hand grenades. What the hell is that? What's up, Long this? I don't know. I used to drink something, me and Neil used to drink something called jungle juice. Like that was like one of those like about.
Okay, so
Joe, you remember those?
No, but there's a story behind this, Sean, man. Like, let's be real. We were in high school.
We have so many stories.
First of all,
all right, let's sit back.
First of all, we're not of drinking age in high school, so that didn't happen until university. That's the first thing. Okay, it happened in high school. No, but you didn't have any money. It was
My mom's watching.
It was the cheapest thing the cheapest thing you could get at the LCBO was jungle juice. Think of it like
No, Old E.
Or Old English.
Yeah, I used to pour some out for the homies, although none of my friends ever died. Or
Old E, because you didn't have any money. You'd either have Old E or you would have jungle juice. It's like bootleg Alizé. Think of it like that.
Right.
That's basically what it is.
Alizé was good, a little too expensive.
It's
The
overrated.
Alizé. No, when we were in high school.
Well, it's interesting because when you're a kid,
Paint
when you're
thinner,
young,
stuff
you
like
do. If people that talk about like, musicians have influence. Man,
Exactly.
young people were drinking Alizé just because Tupac said it in a song. So
that was you.
That's fact. What do you mean? What do
Yeah,
you
it wasn't
mean?
you. You're all about Tupac. You already said that one.
I was more Tupac than Biggie. That's
exactly.
That's 100%.
The Alizé was really nice, man. I think it was like a
Biggie.
tangerine or something kind of flavor.
Yeah, it was like
right there. Okay, that's it. So blast from the past. Thank you, Neil, for that. All right, so let's just keep on going on here right now. That was Billy D. Williams' favorite drink, apparently. So okay, we'll watch out for that. All right, just looking at the market here. We're right here. I think we can get long, but we have to watch out for that bottom wick. We're above the 50-period moving average. Do you want to get long? The thing is, remember, that we're going into the weekend right now. It's only an hour and 15 minutes left until this market closes, and then we don't have any earnings. Well, I think we have a few earnings, maybe after market, but little ones. Bank earnings were already talked about today. Let's go over and maybe trade something that has reasons to go. JP Morgan here at the high of the day. Bang. There it is. And what a trend today. You know, for some reason there in the pre-market, the market was a little slippery. We had wondered where we were going. We talked about shorting the TQs. JP Morgan was a double beat today, right? And then I still don't really know too much about what the guide was going on there, but JP Morgan today, that's its first bottom there at the 200 period. We retested it at about 11:30, and ever since then, it's an upside break. So I feel like breaking this top is going to be a decent trade here into the close. JP Morgan up 5%. I think if we Google it or whatever we're going to use to find the information, that's a pretty decent move off earnings. JP Morgan and a lot of the banks don't move too much off earnings, and if they do, it's almost the other way. It's the other way. Normally goes to the downside. So a nice 5% move for JP Morgan is actually quite good. And if you look at the daily chart, it's bouncing off the 200 period moving average. Obviously, we had that huge move down, but this is sort of the signature right here. Around 225 to 230 is where you want to look. And now we're trying to break back higher. This time, hopefully, we're a little smarter than we were last time, and we're able to get something out if we come back up into 250. So let's see if we get some continuation. Remember, next week, we have Goldman Sachs, and let's see how that's doing today as well. I'm going to say it's probably up half decent, although it's more tracking Morgan Stanley, I would imagine, than it is JP Morgan.
Same as
we go for different money center banks. Goldman Sachs and Morgan are more equally tied with their banking activities than in JP Morgan. So, yeah, up 1.73%. Still, good day for banks today, and I think it's probably worth a look here into the close. I do want to put that long on. So if JP Morgan, wrong stock. If JP Morgan goes through the day's high, which, let me see what it says. We have it right here as 264. Nope, that's not going to be right. What level is this? 238.50. Well, our level 2 says 264, so it's having some issues there. But at the end of the day, 238.50, we're going to go long on JP Morgan. I like that one. We have to play a little bit here with strong names. So we'll do that with JP Morgan.
Yeah, and I would say that Morgan Stanley, while the same chart and it's up. Oh, is this loading? I went to go check Blue Ocean, and maybe Morgan Stanley's not on Blue Ocean because that's not loading. I'm going to have to load it back up. Oh, there it is. It just took a while to load. Yeah, you know what? My Blue Ocean quote, I guess, whatever, I'll let
We are waiting
go.
for Trump.
And now we can go back. So while this Morgan Stanley chart looks the same as in a general sense, it looks about the same as JP Morgan's, up a couple of points. I don't feel as constructive or good with Morgan Stanley as I would with the other banks. And it's part of it, relationship to the 200 period, resistance under where we bounced at the 200 period, the fact that until proven otherwise, there's a lot of lip service being paid about. Yeah, IPOs are coming back, and I get it. We've started to have more, and there's a little bit more in deal making, but some of that is slowed down, and a lot of the action that was expected from the administration in terms of clawing back on basically a regulation in the financials and going against deals or maybe lightening up on deal making, nothing really that concrete has happened. And I think that doesn't necessarily bode as well for Morgan and Goldman going forward. My shift has been I just now like XLV instead of buying Morgan Stanley. That's me. So we're already 1 for 1. Like the first bank earnings day was good, or XLF. I keep saying it's because I have XLV in my mind that I should think about picking it up. No, XLF, I'm pivoting to them. And I want to get the ETF. And the fact that we've gone through at least part of the earnings cycle and come out unscathed, next week goes well, then I'm going to look to put some bids in on XLF. I want to be DCing into this year. Let's go to Adara.
Bitcoin, a bit of a catalyst here. I have to thank Sharif for making me aware of this. So I looked into this, and yesterday, both New Hampshire and Florida advanced bills to add Bitcoin, create strategic reserves here for Bitcoin. Apparently, Florida is poised to be the first state to formally invest in Bitcoin, though, again, it's actually 1 of 4. So New Hampshire and Florida are 2 of these 4 states where we actually do have these Bitcoin reserve bills in process. It's worth noting these are not made laws yet. They still have quite a few committees to pass through. But as of yesterday, New Hampshire and Florida both passing these Bitcoin reserve bills in their respective states. Just something to be aware if you're, as we have Bitcoin, make this nice push to the upside. This is just IBIT there, or the BlackRock Bitcoin Trust. Back to you.
I mean, if it was moving more, like
Bitcoin's been moving today for sure.
Right now, it's just not doing anything, but it's got everything.
Broke the high.
If you look at the 15, if you look at a 15-minute on Bitcoin, not IBIT, just to show you, because it's kind of obvious to see here. You got a bull flag above prior resistance here at 83.5. So as long as you hold the top end, and I'm going from Bitcoin to IBIT, just so you can see that this little bull flag here with the 47.5 top, that's your prior high. As long as we hold 47.5 in here, I think you got yourself a trade. It's kind of trending back in. If we can maybe close this bar holding above 60, maybe look for some longs. I know there's not a lot of volume this afternoon, so I think you're going to have to try to find things that are very particular. Like little tight stop, play inside the range. So 50s, you're out, try to get something in the 60s and play it into the high. But I like that look. But you got to zoom out to be able to see it on IBIT. It doesn't look as attractive, but you see that 15 minutes starting to look pretty good.
Yeah, in the chat there, what's up, Ron Williams? Intel needs to get into Bitcoin miners. Yeah, Lip-Bu-Tan should just give all of the money over to MSTR and let them just buy Bitcoin with it.
Shoot, there was a story about him.
I did want, was there?
There was some, I don't know, like, this might not be anything to do with why Intel was down, but I now remember reading this when I woke up. There was something about Lip-Bu-Tan having personal investments in some like Chinese government-backed companies.
All right, well.
And like it was, I don't know, like it was
probably okay.
Whether or not that's a big deal, but I remembered seeing that. I'm like, that's probably not a big deal. But then Intel went down 8%.
Yeah, so I don't know, maybe. We didn't hear too much about that. But yeah, good call. Yeah, always ears to the ground on all of that. Yeah, cheers to everybody. We're having some drinks here on a Friday, and by drinks I mean we're having 1 beer each. Okay, Trader TV Research. Thanks to Dara. She's in charge of this, and it's fantastic. And I already put my comment in here about how much we appreciate all of this work. But here it is. This is the calendar for next week. I retweeted it. You go to TTV Research, and you can find Adara and all the work that she's been doing, our infographics. So into next week, get ready. Siren, we'll have one earnings, and then we'll have another day,
another one,
and then maybe another one. Yeah, so at least 3 earnings reports next week, according to DJ Khaled. So thank you so much for that, DJ. All right, but it's a big one on Monday when we start with Goldman Sachs in the pre-market. So, all right, then we will go to Adara immediately because we will not upset Ramin.
So I want to talk a little bit about this Intel story because, Neil, I knew what you were talking about. I initially saw this circulating on Reuters Wednesday night or Thursday morning, so this is not super new. I don't think Benzinga got it until late yesterday or earlier today. But basically what happened here is apparently Lip-Bu Tan, who is the new CEO of Intel, he's also was previously on their board before this position. He apparently has control over more than 40 Chinese companies and investment funds, and he holds minority stakes in about 600 others. So he's connected to at least 640 different Chinese companies and investment funds. It's kind of unclear what the implications of this are going to be because it's not illegal to do so. But I guess some people have some questions just due to the fact that the U.S. is, well, Intel is very much censored in the U.S., right? We really have this continued view of Intel as a made in the America company, and now we have Lip-Bu Tan here with several connections to Chinese companies. That's really the only reason this is of interest, but that is the story there. And again, not new. This is at least a couple days old. But we also going to, before we send you back to the guys, time to take the second to look at our friends at ProfitX. Do you want top tier odds and total control? ProfitX brings you peer-to-peer picking, open API access for automation and cost-efficient trading, all in one place. It's like day trading your favorite sports. Make offers, match plays, and even manage your risk with diverse prediction options. So just place picks, exchange them. ProfitX, the smarter, faster way to play. Users can use code TraderTV to get our setup offer of 2% cash back up to $300. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Darryl. I'm going to get to that in ProfitX in one quick second because I got to show you. IBIT tried to grab it in front of that 47.50. It just lost a bid. I went over and said I should reload NEO at the high of the day, but did not get it. As looks like we might be headed back into the downside. I want to try to find some spots where it's a bull flag or a trend reverse or something that we can dig into. Did I get? Nah, we didn't get NEO. I just thought on the note this morning, I know I said 350 short on NIO, but early on it didn't really give you that press, so shorted it, then took the breakout, and then got out when it failed 350, then shorted, never got to VWAP. I want to try to add to see if it got to VWAP in there. But because Joe said something to us, you're watching the midday show, Joe specifically was saying, look, I'm not a big UFC guy. I don't know who Diego Lopez is. So this is Joe's pick.
Right.
This is 100% Joe's pick. I just want to make that entirely clear that this is entirely Joe's pick. So we're going to put 50 on
this is your
Joe's pick of Diego. Is it Lopez or Lopes? Lopez. Diego Lopez versus Alexander.
Volkanovski. Come on, man.
I'm just having fun with it.
I have no idea.
We have to hit confirm, and we'll hit confirm. And we got him at, we got like plus 128. So there you go. Thank you, ProfitX. We'll just take the line that they have in there, and we'll have a little bit of fun with that. It's simple.
Yeah, we saw the line on FanDuel was like it was about 7 or 8 cents better on ProfitX.
The line was better on ProfitX by at least, I thought it was maybe 7 or 8 better. And we could have sat outside the book to hope to get picked up, but whatever. It's already good odds. If it's the same odds as what you find on FanDuel, you can just sit and try to offer better, and then maybe you get swept up by somebody crossing the book.
That's the idea.
Kind of like, like you bid, let's say you want to get Alibaba at $100, somebody's bidding at 01, you're like, maybe they'll break 100 and then go, and you bid at 99.70 and you get picked up. You do the same thing on the line, on the outside of the lines on ProfitX. Anyways, we're just going to take that shot. Tough Aldrin apparently doesn't like our pick. So we'll see. That's the fun part of it. Now maybe I'll pay attention to the fight. That's the
Diego is going to be sleeping. Aldrin. Oh, no. Dinkelberg also.
Dinkelberg doesn't like it all as well. Well,
what a sport. You get in the ring and you don't get out until you're either knocked out or you can't even function properly. But anyways, we'll see. That's why Joe likes it. There we go. But yeah, UFC, look, real fun to watch. I think they have a UFC. I mean, they're at UFC like 300. Like they have one almost every weekend. I feel like and they're selling out. I mean, it's super popular.
So often now.
All right, what I was trying to get at before we went over to hear the Lip-Bu Tan story, and thanks from Adara for this one. So next week, I mean, there's Applied Digital. So we're going to start to get into some tech names now. So we have Goldman Sachs on Monday morning, so we can't do anything about that other than trade it now. I would say long. Morgan beat, good day for banks. Seems like we're getting some settling down. I don't want to say settling down in the markets, but in the financial sector there. And again, we do understand that the Fed is going to be an issue this year. And I really feel like Donald Trump will have something to say about these interest rates and pretty soon, especially if the market continues to go. He's going to talk about that. And that's not going to be great for the Fed, but at the end of the day, they do their own thing. So we'll see. I think Jerome Powell will push back. So, all right. Bank of America, Citigroup. We're just trying to talk about some of the names that are hitting. Then Johnson & Johnson snagging into some consumer discretionary there. Possible, XLV with the healthcare. We'll see what Johnson & Johnson's saying about that. Albertsons, again, food coming through there. United's back into the space again. Interactive Brokers, again, more financial. Then there's the big one, in my opinion anyways, ASML should be some sort of a story there on Wednesday. Again, traded over in Amsterdam. So we'll see how that market trades it, and then we'll come in here. It's an expensive stock, so I don't know if we'll be looking at it, but it should move the market is the idea. United Health, so where's Adara at right there? United Health coming through on Thursday. She loves that name. We talked about that. Along with American Express, which had a decent move today. Look, American Express today was upgraded. So take that for what it's worth. An upgrade coming ahead of earnings. Does somebody know something? All right, and then obviously sitting right in there, Netflix is going to be a monster anyways. I really think Netflix, with the acquisition there of WWE, I know they're paying $5 billion or something, but that's going to be huge, man. WrestleMania is it this weekend or next weekend? It's either the 13th or the 19th. I think it's the 19th.
Would they do it the same weekend?
Do it on Saturday, Sunday.
With the Masters?
WWE don't care.
I don't care.
The Masters is over, right? It ends at 7 o'clock, whatever. But anyways, there goes Netflix as well on Thursday. But what I was getting at was TSM, right? So TSMC coming there on Thursday, pre-market. So join us all next week. And then I didn't even go over the economic data. Retail sales, I think, will be pretty big there. Fed's daily speaking. She's even written down here when the Fed speak happens. So we'll check that all out. Very, very important. Go check it out. It is TTV Research right there. And then, so that's about it for me on that one. All right, as we were talking, the market did nothing. So there's at NASDAQ. These wicks are pretty good fake outs. We talked about, maybe getting long at some of these bottoms. It looks like it gave you an opportunity to do that, and you could have ran that right back up. But if we want to talk about it, heading into the weekend, I think the short seems better to me, and I would just cover anything if we got back into VWAP. So underneath the 50-period moving average, I'm not super excited about the futures here. We do have entering power hour here in the next minute. I was more trying to find out what JP Morgan's going to do. Since then, we've dripped down into here. 200 period, I'm a buyer, or I'm a buyer through 238.50, which is the high of the day. That looks less likely now. I feel like we will get a test of the 200 period. 200 period moving average for JP Morgan held right here. Early on in the day, 230. We wrote down 226 on our sticky note. It's right here. And it, unfortunately, it was just in the first 3 minutes that you got 3 signatures down there. And I'm taking that from Joe. I don't know. I like when he talks about that, the volume signatures and all that.
3 signatures, who else?
Yeah, so right down into there at $26, 226. We bounced 3 times. So that was a good long for JPM. But I'm going to watch it. We haven't broke the 200 period, which I use as a trend sign. So if we break that, then we can get out. Or we may be, we're not going to hold the VWAP. That's $3 down. So my bid right now, 235.50 on JP Morgan. Let's hope that it comes down. That's all we can do. Hope that it comes down.
Yeah, exactly. You have to be really patient. I just saw Zero Hedge even just tweet. Market volume is set to finish at the lowest in 7 sessions.
Right, yeah.
Going back to last week even.
Makes sense.
As well, which makes a lot of sense. That's what we're observing right now. Someone asked thoughts on TSM, Taiwan Semi. I think you got to be careful with the semis. Let them report. Like this bounce that we got, all you did is go back and fail prior support. We just death crossed on the TSM, which is not my favorite indicator in the whole world. I don't like it. So this is the crazy thing. The actual bottom was on the death cross. So it's not my favorite indicator, but it does mean you're in a downward trend, and the prior supports turn into resistance. Let them report, and let's see what's up before I like any of these names. TSM doesn't matter. Nvidia, AMD doesn't matter. Any of these. Let's see the reports because you're still in downward trends as far as I'm concerned. Let's go to Adara as we enter Power Hour.
Power Hour is here, and so what better time to get ready for next week than right now? Thank you, Sean, earlier for spotlighting our weekly earnings calendar. But did you know that we also have a daily earnings and events calendar on TTV Research? Every single day, I will post what to look for the day ahead, usually around this time of day, sometime before 4 p.m. And as Sean mentioned, we have some earnings from Goldman Sachs and Applied Digital coming through on Monday. Also some company events. LAES, we know this name can run. This is that Seals Q. They have a conference on Monday to be aware of, and some Fed Speak. So find out everything you need to know. TTV Research on X. We post these every single day. Back to you.
Every single day. Ooh, I just heard crude oil's making.
Yeah, let's look at crude
Grain
oil.
on oil today? Don't jinx it, Neil.
Cratering? No, probably up.
No, we're not going to get grain.
That's not crude oil.
Whoops. What the hell? I thought I clicked on.
Come on, Neil, man.
No, well,
How many beers have you had?
No, it's CCL and crude oil are basically neck and neck. So I clicked the wrong one. Like if you click that, it goes CCL.
I thought you might have typed in CM, whatever you're
No,
trying to find.
it's one of my favorite features when I have my quote board up, because I don't have to type the symbol
Yeah.
in. I can just click on whatever it might be. There you go. Now you're at the highs. Yeah. So a good day overall. I mean, it's been really, really bad for energy in a general sense, and all we're doing is, like I said, just like the chips. Like everything else, you're going right back into prior resistance. But we've been taking it on the chin in XLE. Up a couple points today, maybe it's a little bit of relief, but this is looking like bad. Like look at all this volatility. The good news for XLE, when we zoom this chart out a little bit further, is have a look at the last, maybe I zoomed out too far. We'll go right, that's not far enough. All right, we'll have to keep it here. If you look at the last time we were at like this 75 area on XLE, big volume bottom in 2023, and usually all these little big volume events have been pretty solid bounce spots. So hopefully we get a little something like all the worst is in, and maybe we're good off this 75 level and we can resume back to the upside. However, I would posit to you that the last time it got into these levels, it was not this ridiculous of a move down. You know, like it takes a while to settle sometimes after you have these big drops. So the energy's not really out of the water yet, but it is bouncing at a level that looks good on big volume. Obviously, everything's bouncing on big volume. The concern, of course, is if you don't get a deal done with China, ultimately, demand is just not going to be there, right? Like, if you don't get a deal done with China and you start shutting down a lot of their exports, and demand for energy is just not going to be what it should, and obviously prices are going to go down. That's great for us at the pumps, and everyone's happy about it, but it's not great for us that own things like Chevron or XLE.
Apparently, Mangione has asked not for the death penalty.
As opposed to what?
Big surprise right there. Not just hitting the newswire right now. I mean, it's not. You shouldn't be allowed to go up to a citizen and point a gun at the guy's head and pull the trigger and then get away with it. But again, there's more to that story, so we'll wait to hear where that goes right now. I don't think it matters. It's not going to do anything to UNH or anything like that. It's just a sad situation there. All right, it doesn't look like we'll get anything down here at 235 and change right now for JP Morgan. We are sitting there. So right now we indicate, and I just looked at what this level is, 238.50 right there to the top side. So we'll see what winds up happening there with JP Morgan, 238.50 on the top end of that trade for JP Morgan. And we're going to wait to see if there's any sort of a breakout on that, and we'll look to take that if and when it breaks out. And we already have our stop order in. So what I do is I have a different trigger stop. So this one will get me into position if and when a certain. It's just a reverse stop order. It's when a trigger price is hit, then do this. So the trigger price for me is 238.50, and when we see 238.50 come on the time in sales, not a quote. Right, I have it set up that it has to print above my trigger price. So when that happens, then it will punch me in, and I'll probably cross up I'm gonna have to cross up more than 5 cents. Look at the spread right here. I need to change that. Probably cross up 20 cents. Yeah. Right on the break, because right there, now it's 20 cents. I actually didn't realize JP Morgan has this kind of a spread here today. So
I'm not sure it always does. It's not,
I don't know either.
Today's low light volume.
Whatever, we'll wait. If that goes up, that goes up. Just to see if there's anything else moving around here today. Our trade rate has stocks like this on it, and they're all the same usual suspects. This is brought to you by eSignal. Look, if you want to scan something, if you're bored and you want to scan something, scan that watch list right there. I mean, absolutely for free. Other than the midday show, that's the best thing right now at Trader TV Live. It's awesome. That little QR code right there. Scan the QR code and grab it. It's 100% for free. We get emails all the time telling us, about the quality of that. So please scan it. Let's get going. That's our watch list. Spends a lot of time.
I'll just show you one thing that got put in here.
Yeah, go. Yeah.
So where is it? The association, which is the China Semiconductor Industry Association, clarified that countries that U.S. chip makers outsourcing manufacturing to countries like Taiwan, such as Qualcomm and AMD, would be exempt from the retaliatory tariffs. What happened to AMD today? And then firms with U.S.-based fabs like Intel and Texas Instruments may face tariffs of 84% and higher. It was just that simple. AMD's been the strongest. Intel's been the weakest, if you look at all of the chips. That's just been true the entire time. There's not a heck of a lot. It's just crazy how there's really not that much happening in the overall market. Like, the only thing I'm doing is reloading some Neo off of that double top high. Like, it's just like short under VWAP, long over VWAP, short at the high, long off VWAP. If you're reversing, I'm not. And I'm looking over to see if Google is doing anything, or Alphabet, I should say. Not much. I was already on the 3-minute. Yeah, not much. There was a little bit of a trend break. It got like halfway to VWAP and then right back up on trend. Volume to come in or something to get a little bit more exciting here. Unless you get some range-bound trade that you really, really like. NVIDIA doesn't seem to want to get to VWAP, which seemed like it was going to get down there. You got one little wick, but no real press in there at all. And volumes are getting lower and lower. Oh,
right.
no. Again.
Yeah, you got to fix your mic over there.
Yeah.
All right, so I was just going to go before we start talking about that. I wanted just to quickly look over here. So right now, Palantir is getting some love on our trade rate. So yeah, it is. I don't know if there was an individual story or not regarding Palantir or what's going on right here. But yeah, not that Adair had seen either. So it looks like Palantir wants to break that. So I think this could also be another trade. Look what we've done on Palantir. We've basically... The 200 period here, if you guys aren't on the 200 period, I think you maybe should be, because this 200 period was a great opportunity to get short right there, and then we rode it all the way down, and then eventually it became a long situation there off the 200 period moving average. We came back in, bounced off there again. My line for VWAP is right here. The blue line, it's really purple, but the blue line on your screen would be, I guess it's blue enough. That's VWAP. This is the 50 period moving average, and I just use SMAs. So simple moving average. This is a 200 period is green, VWAP is blue, and pink or red. Just trying to make it easy for you guys to see them all. That is the 50 period. So 50 period is good. It's more for when stocks are moving around a little bit more. This has been pretty, back and forth, so we won't really look at that. But VWAP has been really great, and the 200 period has also been half decent. So I think that that's a good little spot there to buy if we can get that in. But at the same time, that may not come through. So the fact that we've supported it again, right there again when we dip back in, and now we go up. I think the next... place to go is breaking through here. You don't get too much resistance up here from it. I mean, we could break this 88.50 level, get up to 89. I think it's pretty smooth sailing, especially if the market goes with it. So Palantir, although we're down today, we're going to step out of our comfort zone a little bit and buy Palantir if it breaks through. The thing is that we've coined a term, and shout out to Brian Shannon and everybody that's watched with us. And it actually goes back to, what was the guy's name? The stock father? Oh, man, he's the one that coined it, I believe, barcoding. And it just means when a stock... Mark Roberts. Yeah, I was going to say something Robertson, but Mark Roberts. We used to have him on as one of our very first guests, and he was a fantastic gentleman. Retired from the NYSE, I believe, anyways, at that point. I was doing his own thing. But when a stock or when the futures kind of go like this, it looks like a barcode. So, we just say the market's barcoding right here. Brian Shannon sort of coined that now and given us credit for it as well. But, when the market's doing this, what you basically, there's only a couple trades. That is, you wait near the bottom to try to get long right there, or you try to get short at the top. And then when it breaks, you hope that it doesn't break its past area of support or resistance. So like if you go short here at 88.60, you hold out that it doesn't break this 88.80 top. And the same thing here. If you go long at 87.40, you hope to have not get wicked out down there. And it would have worked for you there and there and there again. So you'd have 3 or 4 times. We haven't really challenged on the upside, which is why I think it's much safer to do it since we are above VWAP right now. I think the long is a safer idea than the short at this time. But it's 310. I'm not in anything. Neil's in something that probably won't move, and yeah. So.
I'm hoping it doesn't, because it's just been range bound. But shout out to everyone in the chat that mentioned Marvell was starting to move a little bit. That's not this isn't bad. Like for Marvell, 70, 80 cents, that's 1.5%. So this bounce from VWAP to the high is pretty good for Marvell. I don't know if we'll get another shot. I like the long a little bit better because we're trending up. So I don't think you get VWAP again on Marvell. The great thing about them, they'll always be near the end of earnings season, so you're not worrying about earnings for a while with them. Like they report generally like after NVIDIA, and NVIDIA is one of the last big companies that reports. But this is it's a great level down at the 50. I don't want to say value or anything like that. I'd have to double check their forward P. But I can tell you the 50 has been a good base. VWAP, if we get one more chance to pop down into VWAP on Marvell, it's already proven that it's actually moving in here. If it breaks away, I don't know how much I favor breakouts in a low volume environment, which is exactly what we have. So if it were to break and maybe fail and put in a higher low at 52.8, that'd be one way to get into this. But I like the trend. Good call out for everyone in the chat that mentioned here. Rainmaker said you loaded at 51.70 on... That'd be in the morning, I would guess, on Marvell. Yeah, good look, Rainmaker. That's a great one. Oh, shout out to Nimrod gifting memberships like candy every day this week, it seems. Appreciate you, Nimrod, one of our longtime viewers. You do have to enable when you log in YouTube or when you join the stream, make sure you enable gifts. And then you can claim one of the memberships. Appreciate you as always, Nimrod. It's been a fun week. We've had so much love from the viewers and from all of you. Really, and we appreciate every single one of you. It's a great community out there, as you guys can tell. So, yeah, I like this Marvell. Maybe we get one more dip. I'll leave it up here, see if we get a dip into VWAP, and then we'll try to pick some up. That's a stock which is at least attempting to move around here. We thought Apple might make a run at that 200, but here, I'll just show you the black chart. There's no need to flip to Apple. Like this is, I'll zoom in. This is Apple right now. The run at 200 is really waiting around for some kind of, the futures probably have to break the high. If that does happen, I would think fade off the 200 level just because it's 200 on a Friday and how outstretched Apple has gone. So first look is if we get there, look for a bit of a scalp fade. Might even be a level we could play off of with the imbalances. You never know. Like maybe there's a slight buy imbalances that tracks us in close enough to 200, get 355, starts to pair off, and you take the short. That's another way of working into it. And MacP, no, I'm not talking about shorting Apple now. I was sort of talking about waiting for it to make another run at the high. Like I wouldn't want to short it at this level.
Look at Tesla right
only to see it get to the top. What, Tesla's going?
Yeah. I was going to say, if you want to look at something at the top, I mean, look at Tesla right now. It's trying to get to 251, 252, trying to break higher right now. TSLA, what a great move, up $4 in the last 20 minutes. But that's not what's on my radar. You guys know that we're about to get into Palantir right now. Looking to, oh, wait a second. Was I just wrong on what level that is right there? Okay, we could almost get long right now on Palantir. I mean, it is breaking that level. I was looking at 50s. All right. I mean, we could take a fill now. I was also looking at 50. Let's let it just go one more. Let's get through 88.50. All right, so we're pretty close to that right now on Palantir. So we already have a bid to get that through. So if it goes, I'm not a bid, it's a trigger. So if this hits 88.51, then it will scan me up through about 5 cents I put on for that. So the level 2 is lots of liquidity. Here it comes. We should be able to get long. But before look, if it pops in, it pops in. You guys will see it at the bottom. You'll know that's what's coming through. I do also have this bid ready to go. This is less shares than Palantir because again, look at the spread. So I've crossed up 15 cents. There's a lot of dark pool action, like there's 77, 74, and then there's 77. So you could see it's about 10 cents in between. So they are making a market in between here on JP Morgan. So again, those are all D prints. And if you guys I feel very lucky to be able to sit here and check out, those of you might say luck, I don't know, it might drive people crazy, but I like looking at the time in sales and all that kind of stuff. So as we sit here and able to look through and see what's going on, this does upset a lot of traders because you do realize how many shares actually are not even hitting the book. And that kind of sucks. And so that's like a Citadel thing where your order will go out and it will just route. I mean, there's various things out there that'll show you all the different venues that we'll route to. We're lucky enough here at Real Trading that we have access to pretty much all of those venues, including IEX, anything like that. Many, many venues. as Mr. Trump would say, many, many venues we have access to here. Oh, wow. That Palantir, we're going to throw to Adair in just 1 second. I just want to show you something. PLTR, look at that turnaround from that exact level. So we talked about the strategy would be to short anything that gets near the highs of its range. It's not, look, it's only 20 cents. We'll see what happens here as the market did exactly what we just said again. Remember, go short near the top, hope it doesn't break that level, and then take your profit. You already got more than 1-to-1 on that trade right there if you took it. I don't like the short. I prefer the long, and I prefer throwing to Adara when there's news.
The show is brought to you by our friends at Worksport. Introducing new discovery in the NASDAQ, Worksport. Ticker WKSP. Worksport's a US-based manufacturer and rapidly expanding with growing revenues, government contracts, and innovative green energy products designed to power your life off-grid. So whether you are on the move or seeking sustainable energy solutions, Worksport has you covered. Now trading on the NASDAQ under WKSP. Discover the future of clean energy with Worksport. Back to you.
And Marvell backing off that high as well. So, yeah, pretty much just about everything. The futures just got to that high and reversed. What's Google doing with that trend line? Yeah, Google's respecting the old trend line underneath. It never got to the high of the day. That's the only problem. Would have liked to see it press into the high. I got to get rid of this now. It's not really as important. That's NVDA. I don't know if I want that one to the south side. Apple's not even there either. Someone said short NVIDIA. NVIDIA just doesn't seem to want to get up to the top there. Anytime the market's at the high and you're making a lower high, my general thought is you should be wanting to short something that cannot get there. But I don't have a good entry rule when you've already pulled back a little bit. One name that would be really, really spicy if it broke trend would be AMD. Like AMD, since it held VWAP at least, like if you kind of line it up there, but it's so tight to the volume weighted average price, that's not a good entry either if it were to break that top. I'm not a huge fan of a lot of these names that I see in here. TLT, oh yeah, I knew there was, Obi was talking a lot about treasuries today. I know not a lot of people look at TLT to trade, but today and in this environment, like see this breakout here? Like that's right around when the VIX lost the bid. And then there was just acceleration in TLT. Then it trended back in, and when it broke the downtrend, explosive move up. TLT was really good to trade today. I think Obi traded it. He was talking about, I didn't check. I'm pretty sure he traded this today. Yeah, he did. And it's not usually something that we may look at it as like an indicator how our treasury is doing, how our yield's doing. But man, those reversions were money, like trend breaks from the bottom, breakout levels, like break out the opening range and then accelerate. Not really anything off of the volume weighted average price, but pretty spicy there on TLT. Not really moving this afternoon, however. But yeah, I knew there was something that we hadn't covered that I wanted to. So there's Marvell. We're going right back into the high of the day. That pullback doesn't want to get us into VWAP. Like I'm favoring trying to buy a bigger dip in Marvell. It might just be a breakout if we can get through this high. Right, if we're not going to get to VWAP and I want the long, it's just going to have to be the breakout. There's nothing else you're going to get. That I can see.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's kind of, I mean, we're sitting here waiting for it to get triggered in. It looks like we will get Palantir in just a couple seconds here as it bounces all the way back up. It just keeps on going right to that same spot as before, this 88.50 level. So, you know, we understand that we're going to have to be patient, even if there it is. So now we're in. So we're in at 51s. So now I'm going to say, where is our out? So because the fact is the market's not moving that much, we could easily drop back down in. I'm not going to hold this all the way to VWAP. I don't know if this has $1 up to 89.50. Well, it might, but if that goes, that's going to be our target, right? 89s, 89.50. So we'll look to go 2-to-1 late here today. So if we can get an offer in and around like, what am I long at? 51. So here it comes back in. Let's just talk about, first of all, the downside risk. So we sort of already looked at this. In the last little while, we had dipped down into here, 88 flat. So that's 50 cents. So that's kind of like about as much as I think we should risk right now. And then that little level there is 80s. So I'm going to take another small bid. And like this is a 1 unit trade right now. I'll put on one more if we come back down into here. And at the end of the day, we talk about risking how much you've made versus, things like that. And I'll try to risk maybe 5% or something of today's net on this trade. I like it. It's 320. There is a chance for this to go up. Palantir has been a dog today, so that's kind of one of the other issues. I prefer the long if I get it on JP Morgan, but we'll just last on this. So I'm going to bid right here, 88.10s or so, if that does come in. And then if we drop below basically the 50 period, which is 95s, if we drop below there, then we're going to get out. So we're in a trade now. I don't mind it, and the reason why we liked it, again, bounce off VWAP, bounce off VWAP, bounce off the 200, bounce off the 200. Seems like there's some support here for Palantir. We could see if these are the lows, well, that's a new low, that's a new low, that's a new low. So we kept on getting higher lows as we went through. So I don't know. I'm not no chart expert or anything like that, but this shoulda, coulda, woulda. We still have that barcoding situation happening right here in the futures. So we'll wait to see. We do have the imbalances as well coming out. Let's just have a quick little early look on this. So this is from the morning, DMN. You can see the time, 9:29, so we'll discount that. Verizon's always on here. UiPath seems to be on here all the time as well. I don't really see anything else that should be too much of a worry wart for me. There, FXI as well. FXI, you can't see. This is a big bid as well. I don't have the right font on here. I don't know. I changed the font last time. I didn't save. 5 million on FXI for a buy and a sell on GDX.
Well, oddly enough,
but the Amex one's a little different.
The only reason I bring that up, well, I mean, it's there, 5.5 million FXI. But when that populated, the big buy, NEO made a run right through the top. Well, maybe not through the top, but through my break-even average price. So the second that happened, we got out. We've been short and long and then short, and I'm not going long. I'm not punching out the highs, I'm not punching in the highs on NIO. I just don't like the Chinese ADRs.
Here we go.
Or things like breakouts in the afternoon. It's just, they don't usually move enough to like it. Marvell going to make that run on the high. I might try to weasel, as Sharif would say. Might try to weasel in on the dip buy here and play the bull flag on Marvell instead of having to wait for the breakout play. Because the market takes the high and you got a strong name. I can try to grab it in here around the 53 and then I'm giving it like 20, 25 pennies. And I can think about adding to it on the breakout if I want to. I might try that pattern. I do like this Marvell in terms of its relative strength. Certainly, I mean, a lot of things are holding VWAP and going higher. But yeah, this one, I just like the amount that it moved off of VWAP. So see if we can't get something at the even dollar level, and take that level 2 off NIO. Maybe throw up FXI just in case something happens over there, and see if we can't get into Marvell before the break. Dip the beak, PSYOPs. I'm pretty sure Sharif says wet the beak, PSYOPs. So
I thought it was your thing. Oh no, yours.
Oh, that's not mine. What do I say?
There it is right now.
Don't look a gift horse to mouth. Is what I say.
You got out at NEO, but we have right now a 25-cent winner. I don't know. There it is on Palantir, so we'll take 20% out.
You found the best trading show on the planet.
Oh, shit.
So what are you going to do now? Simple. Hit the like, subscribe, and share it. Don't forget to follow us on all of our socials as well. We're live every
Oh, this is the long one. No, there's a new one. There's a new one. Joe, I'm in charge over here, right, my guy? Yeah, we will. There is a new one. I thought it was going to be the new one. We have shortened that one out right there. But do hit the like and the subscribe, man. But there it goes. There goes Palantir. It's going to be a good trade. It is honestly. What's up, DJ? Right there. It is another one. We'll see if we can ride the bull to the high side right here. We do have an offer at 90 right now as well. So there goes Palantir. We talked about this. We like the trade. I gave it to you. It is another one. I'm going to take something out again, maybe right here at 75. So there it goes. We'll take another piece at 75. Our first piece out was 70s. Then we took a 75. I'm still holding 80% of this trade. So if it goes, it goes at this point. And again, the market's kind of just like barcoding a little, still barcoding, but near the top. So we do want to take something out. Look where this 50 period has now come up to. So now we're at $8. $88 right now for that. So a good couple outs. Let's see if we can climb just a little bit higher. Again, everyone do themselves. Like if you're trading 0-day options or something like that, I'm sure you could have bought when I did, and it's probably nicely in the money now. Again, I don't know how those work. I cannot wait if and when we ever get those here. That would be something different. But at the end of the day, nice move up. We'll take out, what did I say, 20% or so of this trade so far. Could still fall back in, so this is definitely not out of the woods yet, but always nice to try to play a little bit with house money. But here we come, right back there. We got to change our outs now. So now I got to cancel this, and I'm going to do an 88 break. So let's go 87.99 or so as a breakdown for Palantir. That's where we'll be getting out. So 88 breaking lower. We're out of PLTR. But yeah, not bad. They would take a little bit of a trade there. JP Morgan's trying to go. It's still at 238. It's at the high of the day, but not breaking out yet. It's only 330. So I don't even know what happened to your NEO trade. I'm sure I don't think NEO was even moving that much, but well, now you're in Marvell. Okay, so that will actually.
Well, I'll give you.
That'll be a mover.
I can show you NEO. NEO was actually great today in terms of.
Yeah, I'm just surprised you're in it because it was such a slow mover.
It was. Remember, there was an iceberg order at 336 on NEO, so I was short in front of the iceberg order at 335. It couldn't break the low of the day, but when it broke the iceberg, I just flipped into the long, trailed out of it because it hit 350. Which on my note today, I did say short 350 for the record, but I took the long into it, then shorted, couldn't get to VWAP, reloaded it to get an average price of 47, but the second it broke that lower high, it just popped out. So it was more like of a day long kind of thing. Marvell, we did get that dip at 53 even. Oh, 04s actually, but in front of 53 even. We kind of took the bull flag setup. We'll scalp into the high. If it breaks the high, still looking to add on a break for the breakout trade. We'll take some out in front and then add back in if it breaks that high. But FXI, remember the 5 million imbalance on FXI? Well, it was 6, and now it's 7 on FXI. Like, this is growing. I don't remember seeing, I know we've seen 3, 4, 5 million on FXI, but this is what's been happening on FXI since that imbalance came out a few million to the buy side. So if I do see it crop up, like if I see 7, just for this example, if 7 goes to like 8 or 9 million, I might just punch in and see what happens. But at 350, you know, all the imbalances populate and everybody sees it publicly. And at that point, you kind of want to be bigger than what was expected, or you know, maybe looking for that reversion at 355. But this is starting to be sizable on FXI. Wish I had seen this. I'm not sure exactly what time we first saw it, a few million. I wasn't paying enough attention to it. I do wonder if you could have just punched into that trend when we saw it pop up there the first time. Because every now and then on a Friday, you're going to see better imbalances. And last time I checked, China was in play. That's the other side of the equation. Very much in play. So I would expect you could see some great volatility there. Wicked Detail says y'all missed Hood. 7.5% today for Robinhood. Yeah, that's pretty good. I didn't know Hood was up this much, I'll tell you that much. I thought AMD was one of the biggest percentage ones on my quote board, but yeah, Robinhood was definitely a miss. No question about it. I didn't see this. Do I even have Robinhood? I might not have Robinhood on my quote board. That could be the reason. But it doesn't matter. Great looking name. I've talked about in depth the decision to take SoFi instead of Robinhood being a bad one. And I plan on selling some more SoFi if we get to the 50-period moving average. So it just hasn't been that good of a name. And they report this month. And if I get a chance to get a pop before they report, depending, we'll see how the rest of the banks do and the rest of finance does. But yeah, I haven't been that impressed with SoFi relative to Robinhood. Robinhood does look very, very good. A good call out, 7.5%. And there's no story on them or anything like that. Maybe on the bank.
Oh, just a rebound day.
Yeah, on rebound day on the back of some strong trading revenues from JPM. Like JPM was a very good number from their trade desk. I would suppose that sentiment helps Robinhood a little bit.
Yeah, go JP Morgan. We're almost punched into JP Morgan right now at the high of the day. It looks like the futures scalp short, like what we talked about, is exactly the trade. It's happened once and it happened again right now where you did not break out from the high of that range. So we need to get a breakout if there's anything going to happen. The NASDAQ at 2% here, it could go, right? So we'll wait to see if there's an opportunity for it to get even through that level right now at 18.8, but 18.880. Again, you know, back down into there would be bad for this Palantir trade. Palantir is now back down through 88.40 now, or is at 88.40. Still watching JP. It's actually holding out top side. So again, Palantir was green. Now it's back into the red again. We did have some outs up there, but now we fade back a little bit. So we were still looking at this 88 flat in order to get out. Look, we tried the break out there. We'll take some out. We talked about putting on a unit. So, you know, we're not super committed to this trade at all, but it was a good little break out there. We took the best we got, I think, was 75s? Yeah, 75s. We got a 70 and a 74. So those weren't bad. That was 20 and 25 cents. Now we'll wait to see if we're able to get a little bit more down here at 88.10 or so, and then stop out through 88 underneath now the 50-period moving average, and we'll see if there's something that works out for us on that. JP Morgan retracing just a little bit. Let's check out where NVIDIA wants to close. We just saw Tesla on the move up. Okay, so everything's pulling back just a little bit as we'll wait. There's now 20 minutes until those imbalances that Neil was showing you will become public, and then at that point, we'll see what happens. You don't necessarily want to be into anything too strong when those imbalances are coming out, especially NASDAQ names like this, because we saw NVIDIA the other day. I mean, look at these moves that happen right at 350, right? You can get some pretty active trades. That's the volume right there at the close. That's 350 right there. So you see there must have been a buy imbalance of some sort for NVIDIA yesterday. So we'll see if that can happen again today. You are going to get, we talk about how risky it is getting into names heading into the close, but this VWAP has been pretty good for NVIDIA. Bounce and hold there, bounce and hold there. Let's see if we can do it again on NVIDIA. That's 109.60 coming into play. But the stock that had been on much more of a run today than NVIDIA was Advanced Micro Devices. So VWAP on this probably a little stronger, but the whole market's coming back in just a little bit, touching off at the 50-period moving average. We said we'd look at Tesla. That was back to 50s again. So nice trade there for Tesla. Looks like that bottom that I know you had there on that 220 came in again, but that was very, very tough to take the second time. So now we'll wait to see what happens on Tesla. That top looks fine too to me if we get going, 251.50. The market's fading out right now. So yeah, it looks like we sort of gamble. I mean, we're not going to lose too much because we were able to get something out, but it looks like the market there would have been the better barcode to short because we did hit that top. Now you're fading right back into the 50 period. If anything, it might be a long. I'm already in Palantir and I don't want to like search for these trades. The volume, quite frankly, really isn't there. We had that note that this is going to be the lowest volume over the last 7 days. Yep. We're not going to try to push anything, but it does look like we are going to get into JP Morgan as that continues to go higher. So Palantir fading out. It makes a lot of sense why Palantir is going down because it's red on the day.
Well, Hood's going higher.
Yeah, so that's the point is like any of these names gets going, it's probably not going to be Palantir, but nice little downside dip action here for PLTR. Be patient. Like we're only down now 15 cents. It's basically how much we took on the way up. So right now, status quo for PLTR, not low enough for me to get a reload long, but JP Morgan's the one I should look at more because this looks like it wants to take it out. 15-cent spread now, that's as much as I'm willing to cross into it, knowing that there's dark pools everywhere. So we should be able to get long on that. But yeah, what's up? Say what's up to Eric H. This is the craziest version of whack-a-mole, he says, that he's ever seen. I think that's right. You know, the high comes, bang, get it back down in. Oh, it's back up, bang again. So that was one of my, I like playing whack-a-mole, actually.
It's an old school.
Good hand-eye thing.
It's great for
There goes JP Morgan.
Jameson, I don't know UDN. I'm not familiar with UDN. Like even when I look it up, it looks like it's.
We got zero slippage there.
Invesco DB USD Index Bearish ETF. Well, I don't know it. But and it doesn't do any volume. If this is what you mean, Jameson, 700. It's a very illiquid ETF. So I don't know if you had a question about it, but that doesn't look very interesting to trade. Any ETF that's doing less than millions of shares of volume is not going to be tradable, unfortunately. Just and if you meant something else, like maybe it's like UDN. There's like a Toronto symbol or something, but there's nothing on the North American markets with that name. So we try the bull flag, no breakout. Obviously, Marvell didn't break out the high. So I've canceled my breakout order. We tried it at 53. It broke the prior bar low. Now we're going to wait at VWAP, which was the original plan, see if that will come back in. Because if we're just doing this whack-a-mole top and the bottom, then the long maybe we should just be trying it off of the actual bottom. FXI has stopped growing on the imbalance. It's kind of not halted, that's the wrong word. It's slowed down to 7 million and holding at 7 million on the imbalance. I still believe if I see it grow, I do want to try to take something in FXI. And it's a very strong upward trend in that name. So it's either we wait for VWAP on Marvell or FXI if I even see it go higher on the imbalances, or maybe even just pull back into the prior high and stay at 7 million. That's the other way that we could try to get in on the Chinese ETF, which should be a big one. You'd think if there's something that's going to move at the close, one of the ETFs, why not be China? I mean, that's where all the volatility and all the talk has been. Like, what do you think about them over the weekend, right? Like one headline, that's where all the headline risk is in all the tariff-related names in the Chinese sector in a general sense. Jam Lossy saying gold is going. Yeah, that makes a heck of a lot of sense. Gold's having a great day. Silver was trying to go today. I haven't double-checked to see. Well, silver got to the high. It's just kind of held the high. Good day for silver, but no follow-through. Again,
Hi-ho.
Well, it's the 50 period resistance, it looks like, on SLV, unfortunately.
All right, so average price now of 238.36. We did take that JP Morgan breakout. It did go higher, but we actually got 50s. So, you know, the fill that we got was the price that we put in, and that's never a great sign. I mean, it's good that you get the price that you want, but that just means that, you know, when it broke, there was enough sellers there to just kind of whack-a-mole it down again. I like that. I like that saying there. I'll probably start to use that. But it just came right back into this area. We are going to get stopped out if it does break below the 50-period moving average. So we did come back in. And I put a breakdown through 75, which is right here. I actually didn't even really want to risk that because there's been wicks underneath it. So I don't know if we break through there, let's just get out. We talked about we're not putting on a huge amount of risk, but who knows, man? Into earnings, this could go. We do understand that there are those imbalances coming through as well. Palantir just doing a dance. It did get back up to print us another 10 cents if you wanted 60s there. It got to 61 again there on Palantir 2 minutes ago. We did not do anything about that. We did not take anything out. So, yeah, JP Morgan, very, very light. We don't even have a unit on this, but at the end of the day, it looks like it does want to fade out. So we are going to get stopped out, it looks like, on this JP Morgan trade. We tried to break the high there. It didn't go. Just try to do something. It looks like we didn't really need to do anything. So we'll slap a fail on that one. It's a small amount that we gave back, less than 1% of our day. So not huge, or maybe 2%, but at the end of the day, not too much giving back there on JP Morgan. Yeah, go if there's a question.
Jam Lossy just said, you think there will be a rotation from gold to silver at some point. So just to be clear, whenever I've talked about silver, my entire thing has been more along the lines of gold dragging silver up. Anytime I've felt or mentioned anything bullish about silver, that's what I'm going with. I was typing in Virtu because someone was talking about it there. No, when I was talking about SLV, it was more along the lines of, hey, let's just have gold drag silver into a breakout. And it's been trending up in a good look. It's usually very quiet, but I'm not convinced that there would be that big of a rotation, especially, again, sometimes money will move to the thing that's going next. I get that, but if all the things that,
oh, come on, JP.
Like if we get like a recession and all the stuff that people are afraid about why they're rotating into gold, I don't think that will mean they'll leave it for another metal because it's been such a good safe haven. I'm not necessarily thinking that, but I do like silver to get dragged up by gold at some point a little bit more than it has. I hope that makes a little bit of sense. So we're getting to VWAP in here, it looks like, on Marvel, which I guess we should have waited for in the first place. That's the thing. If the market's barcoding, as Sean mentioned, you should be shorting the top and going long at the bottom. It just makes sense. For some reason, just didn't like any shorts at the top. I saw if Apple had been at 200, I guess it would have been a different story. But Apple's not getting to 200. Everybody.
Yes.
It's not happening today. There is no volume unless the imbalances take us there. It's not going to go.
Yeah. No. All right. So it's going to suck because we lost on JP Morgan, but we actually have a unit down here of Palantir. We did not have that much of JP Morgan, and we talked about buying it down here at 88.10. So that's that order that we just took. And as Neil said, man, whack-a-mole. Okay. Now this is becoming a real trade because it's starting to go back to the upside here. So let's start to take some more out of this trade as we go higher and higher and higher. So we're sitting in more money right now just as a profit spot than we lost on JP Morgan in total. So far, so good there as we continue to go higher. And why did we use pretty small shares there on JP Morgan? Because A, of the spread, and B, I don't trade it too often. And unfortunately, I should have just used the 50-period moving average again. Instead, I didn't. That's too bad. That's too bad about JP Morgan. But if most of you watch the show, you know what stock we trade, Palantir. There goes Palantir, man. Great move back there to the upside. We don't talk about net, but I'll make double right now if I get out right now on Palantir than we had just lost, unfortunately, on JP Morgan. So if you took one and not the other, that kind of is what it is. But we take both, and there it goes, nicely cooking to the upside. This one made more sense because we actually went long at the 50-period moving average instead of doing what we did on JP Morgan, where we actually got out before it even broke the 50-period moving average. So that's kind of sucky there, but there it goes right back into 60s again. So we're going to take some more out. We still like to have the high coming through there. So if that hits, great. Remember, if we break 88, and we didn't really do that, we kind of almost did, we're going to give it out at 87.90 or so. So nice move to the high side right now, 40 cents in the money on that one. So we'll figure out what happens right now if that goes back there to the upside. Hopefully it does. Maple Bear. Heart.
That's
I just got upgraded. That's all.
okay.
Not doing too much. 5%.
Yeah, that's not that much. So was it Jan Losi or some? Yeah, it was.
Oh, go.
Someone in the chat was asking why is Marvell such a dog? You have to remember, like in a pullback like we've had, companies in their space that say you lost money in the quarter, like Marvell has a forward P, but they don't have a PE right now. They're gonna get punished a little bit more. You're gonna do better if you're actually making cash. And a lot of companies that have oodles of cash got punished, like an NVIDIA. So I think that's a lot of the reason why Marvell got beaten up as badly as it did, to be down. How much was it from the top? I don't know why I have the drawing tool and I just don't even use it. Oh, wait a minute. Whoops, that's Fibonacci's.
Happen?
There it is. Let me see. And that is 58% from the high, Marvell. 58%. That's what can happen.
What's the most recent high? Oh, from there.
From that, well, yeah, not the recent high. No. I'm not talking about
because AMD is.
Yeah, but like just from the actual, I guess it would be an all-time high for Marvell. I would assume so. 58%, but they're not making money right now. Their 4P looks good, so it's the kind of thing. But we said this all the time for a lot of. How do I get rid of that again? Oh, there you go. Literally clicking, it goes away. That's pretty cool. No, we said this before. Like a lot of names have great forward PEs, so it's going to be incumbent on them. All they have to do is you meet or beat expectations and don't have a horrible guide, and you can have a really good quarter. So Marvell, I think, is in that bucket, but we have to wait until, when do they report? I mean, it'll be a while.
I think.
Problem is in Benzing, I'm so used to we have another source, and I know exactly where to look at for when the earnings come out, and I'm not sure in here when Marvell is. But it's usually like a week or so after NVIDIA, something like that. So that's at the end of earnings season. And we're just starting back into earnings season. Where do they put it on Benzinga?
Here's his calendar. Yeah, so we'll
not as
check
familiar
it out.
with it on Benzinga.
2025 Marvell, unconfirmed, confirmed Q1 report. Yeah, May 29th.
Oh, so that's like...
Yeah, so you have a ways to go before Marvell gives you their
Q1
right there. So yeah, they're one of the later ones. So we'll find out what's going on with Marvell Technologies again. Let me just check. Now that we're over here, let's check, because this was a name that I was trying to look at as well. Thankfully, I mean, we told you we're not really buying any stocks at these levels. Marvell still, actually, is that right?
4P is good.
What doesn't it really have? Yeah, 4P is 19. I guess the last quarter was not very productive. 19 right now, so that's pretty cheap for them. And again, they're in the automotives, and they have a bunch of different chips and whatnot that playing around there. Marvell. All right. Yeah, JP Morgan downside, Palantir upside. So there we go right there on PLTR. A whack-a-mole season still continues there. We went down to the bottom. We sort of absorbed that. Now we go back up to the top. So it's just Palantir time. We did get out of JP Morgan. That's still right here. It's kind of good that we did. It went down to 237.50 as well. It did retrace back up, but not just hovering around the highs. Not a great look there for me on JP, but really great look for us on Palantir. As there it goes right back up to the upside. Palantir actually is quite a nice trade. Right now, back in, we take that bid there, we told you we got a 20%, then loaded it back, and then right there, loaded it back. We put on the exact same trade. So if we had 100 shares there, we'd now have 200 shares, and there it goes all the way back up there to the upside, 88.60s. Now just printing, we just got that, so That's 50 cents right there on Palantir. So we'll take that. Now as we go, someone's saying Amazon. What's up, beer producer? Saying that Amazon, yeah, wow, good look for Amazon. See, this would have been the one. You know, a stock that's up on the day. I mean, again, we did that on JP Morgan. I'm not really sure why the banks are falling here, just considering nothing's going on in the NASDAQ, or the ES is actually barcoding more than the NASDAQ. Look at Amazon, man, just slowly, like the perfect stairs all the way to the upside, trying to go, just taking a nice little chill on a Friday. Amazon going to close out at the highs. Congratulations, anybody that was able to nail that one early, because that's 178 to 185. It's a smooth move all the way there to the upside, as some of these tech names really have a great afternoon. IBIT still 83.8. We had looked at Bitcoin previously. That's kind of just hovering around. And again, another big day for IBIT and for crypto. Up 6% with a NASDAQ basically only up 2%. That's great. So nice move there for IBIT as we're getting later and later into the show with only 14 minutes.
We got Ian Rispetto was.
Yeah, what's up, Ian?
Ian saying, what do you think of MU as a long-term from these levels? You've been wanting to add it to your portfolio. My general rule is if I want to add something to the portfolio for fundamental reasons, like I like the company, I like the business, I think they're going to be good in the long term, I don't get too picky about the first entry. Like if anything, like I don't own Micron. I already said the chip name this year that I'm DCing into that is not a big part of my portfolio is ARM. So that's the one that I bought on this recent dip. It wasn't Micron. But if I wanted to own Micron and it dipped into a historical level like the 50, 60 range, I would have just nibbled. I'd just say, okay, I'll buy once there, and then if by next quarter it's holding 50, I'd buy that quarter as well. There's nothing outside of, I guess, the recent commotion that we've had in the markets and the chips in the general sense that's going to hurt you over there. Like with 4P is 10 on Micron, I would just keep in mind with Micron, this is a company that will go single-digit PE and look like a fantastic value and hang out there for a little bit sometimes. So just, you have to bear with that sometimes. But overall, it's not like it's ridiculously expensive at this particular moment. So yeah, if you're trying to get into it, I mean, it's not like it's at a bad level. It's just not a name that I either own or am looking to add to my portfolio. I did want to take a breakout trade off of the bottom here after earnings, although what happened? We closed, we couldn't break back. We need to kind of break back out above here. It just never happened, and it just immediately broke the supports. We never ended up holding that 85 support that I was interested in on Micron. But if you're trying to get into something, I'll just give you the example of something that I am a buyer of. It's a little easier for me to say. Like I am trying to build a position in ARM in my long term. So when I pull out the daily chart, see this bottom from April, like the 2024, well, it's not really the 2024 low because it's spent some time under there, but that big dip back in April, I just said if it gets down there, I'm going to buy. And so that's what I did. I bought it a couple of days ago because I know this is a name that I want to build into. I think it's in a downward trend. I'll either wait till after earnings to see how I like it, or wait till it gets to like the $50 or $60 level for another entry. That won't be until another quarter from now, in all likelihood. So that's my approach, Ian. And everyone just do you. Like I think ultimately, especially when you're looking at something a bit more fundamental and with a long-term time frame, it's not that big of a deal where you're going to get in if you want to buy and hold forever. And in a general sense, it makes sense to buy dips if you like it and think it's a good value. Just always know that with Micron especially, sometimes people see like a 10p or a single-digit p and they automatically assume, hey, it's a tech name, it's got to go up. Little bit of a lower historical PE than some of the other chip names. Just so keep that in mind. Marvell's trying to bounce off VWAP pretty well here, but it's not really getting back into that 53. And because we are now at the imbalances, it's almost 350. So I should not be on the bid. As a matter of fact, I always, pending script. That's interesting. Okay, so that's wild. Thought I had my stop underneath VWAP, but I didn't because it went pending. But I'm going to tighten up my stop as we're going back into imbalances. I always like to have like a break-even stop or a tighter stop with the imbalances coming out there. Do not want to get sort of rinsed on it. And my offer is out in front of the 53 level. In less than 10 seconds, we'll get the imbalances. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like FXI is going to be there like it was before for a big imbalance there. So let's see. Oh, that must have come out of buy. NVIDIA's 4 million to the buy side. I have no idea what QQXT is, but you've got Verizon. That's pretty small. NVIDIA is just the big one. Apple, 1 million. You've also got 1 million on Broadcom, but that NVIDIA move is going to be a big one. Obviously, when that came out bid, it's going to give me Marvell on a pop on sympathy, but I was just sitting at the offer. I said I'd sit at the offer at 53. That's near the top, so we just get out of it right away. But it's NVDA that is the big one, and not barely even moved. That's a little disappointing. Yeah, like you barely even moved in here on NVIDIA. You got maybe 30 pennies up and down, and that's the algos grabbing the majority of that. So yeah, not a great reaction. It makes me feel good about getting out of that Marvell trade on the spike, because I get it, guaranteed. Like, it's just starting to come right back in. So not a lot of reaction or follow through by that NVIDIA imbalance. I'll just double check to see if anything else popped up in there. No, it's just NVIDIA. Intel's too small. It's a $19 stock, so 1 million shares doesn't do anything for Intel for obvious reasons. And then Broadcom would be the other one. AVGO, 1 million shares to the buy side. What did Broadcom do here? Not much. Not much. I mean, it's just... yeah, it's a bit muted there. It tried to break the high of the day on that imbalance, and it just wicked the high and came right back down. So NVIDIA not moving on a 4 million imbalance. Broadcom tried to go and failed off that imbalance. I think we're lucky to have gotten that spike into 53 on Marvell, because it just went up in sympathy. It didn't have an imbalance on its own. And I don't know what QQXT is up there, but I will. Well, that's some kind of ETF. Never mind.
Right, we get take advantage of Palantir. Well, not take advantage. It just we get a 50 fill rate there. I do want to refresh this. Let's just have a quick check here and see how my guy Corey Connors is doing in the Masters here. Again, okay, so yeah, he's doing pretty good, man. Tied for third right now through 11, -6. That should be fun to watch. This, wow, what a leaderboard! I mean, this is why it is the Masters. I mean.
Star-studded.
Stars like Rose, Bryson DeChambeau from Liv, boo. Corey Connors is there. Scotty, my man, is right here. Scotty Scheffler, your eventual winner of this tournament, I believe. Rory McIlroy could win as well. This guy has problems. Talk about the yips. If he's winning on Sunday, log in, man, and watch. I think it's going to be very, very interesting to see if he can hold it. I think the best golfer, these are the two best golfers in the world right now, in my opinion, Scheffler and McIlroy. But then Shane Lowry's over here as well. There's Victor Hovland from Liv again, boo. Patrick Reed, as we continue to go down. This guy's pretty cool. Oberg, he's awesome. Matsuyama yesterday. This guy yesterday, Hideki, he hit the flag on I don't know what it was, 16 or something. He hit the flag and then it rolled into the water. So it's talk about bad luck. Oh, he just went -4 there. Nice. Yeah, it's a little bit of bad news on that one, but for Matsuyama. So again, a former Masters winner there. All right, so that's the Masters scorecard for you. We'll cheer on our guy, Corey Connors. So we have that 10% left here on Palantir. We could probably just get it out. It's been a good trade for us on Palantir. We'll offer 37s and get some out there. But you already went over the imbalances, I assume.
Yeah, it was NVIDIA and nothing else.
Yeah, she had, Dara had messaged me when I was over there at the desk and just mentioned that it was some buys. So I saw that as well. I don't think there's a green sector, a red sector today, so very interesting day. NVIDIA is still holding for with a buy, but you could see spike up and then right back down in. All right, here comes Palantir again, trying to get back up to 50s. Let's just take another piece out here at 46 if we can, and we can. So more outs there on Palantir. I'm going to put an offer right here at 88.70. So if it does come all the way up there, then oh boy, that would be a great trade to end of the day for us on Palantir. Look, we want to thank everybody, man. We had a beer. That was very fun. We had a great week. I'm done mine. I just put it away there. We also got some refreshed water here. Join me and Adara on the market recap show tonight, and we'll review what kind of a wild week it was. Crazy. Look at some of the sectors. Crazy. And like I said, like there goes Palantir. Let's go. They're okay. All right. There hasn't been many names this week that haven't moved.
That's
so
true.
We should be able to cover many things.
And we got to cover something at the desk right now.
Oh, good. Everybody.
We do. So we have BMY on watch. Nice push into the close. So this company basically had a headline. The FDA has approved its Opdivo plus Yervoy as a first-line treatment for unresectable or metastatic hepatocellular carcinoma. So it's worth noting, FDA earlier this week approved this combined treatment for a different type of illness, but right now the FDA approving this type of treatment as a first-line treatment for some illnesses. So lots of approval for BMY's Opdivo plus Yervoy this week from the FDA. This is a great headline to end the week for this stock. And before we send you back to the guys, we are brought to you by Trade the Pool. Trade the Pool isn't just a new option for trading. It is a new mindset for stock traders. Forget about that old rule book where big trades meant big risk. With Trade the Pool, you can trade real stocks with massive capital, and you only have to put down $47 to get started. Your loss is capped, your profits unlimited. This is about breaking barriers, not your bank account. So if you're ready to trade big without the usual fear of losing all, head to tradethepool.com. Back to you.
All right. Bang. Or this. We're just having a good time. We just got 88.70s. We offered it. We got it. Comes right up there. There goes Palantir, man. Good trade to end the day for me on Palantir. We have 0 LFT. So just to let you guys know, I actually wound up making a little less than double on Palantir that we lost on JP Morgan. So again, that's why I think it's important that, I'm going to tell you the kind of units and what risk I'm putting on with these trades. So we talked about it was going to be way less on JP Morgan than a Palantir. But again, the hit sucked still on that, as we'll wind up losing 70 cents. But making it on Palantir on many, many more shares. So we'll wait to see where it goes from here. But Palantir now green on the day. So we salute that. Every single S&P sector today is up at least 1%.
It's an everything rally.
It's an everything rally.
By the way, NVIDIA didn't pair off at 55.
Ooh.
It's still so everyone's like, NVIDIA did eventually go. It's more because usually at 355, we'll tell you often or almost all the time, you're going to see large imbalances paired off. The reason why they're publicly disseminated is so people take the other side. So the fact that it actually stayed at 4.5 million, I'm usually looking for it to pair off and you like short it when it pairs, but instead we're just continually heading to the upside. Obviously, that's going to take a bunch of things with it. Broadcom actually stayed a bid as well. So Apple showed up at 1.3 million, although Apple's not really doing all that much. It is the NVIDIA show. I think sometimes you get lucky. Like Marvell wasn't running the high. We got it 53. The second NVIDIA didn't pair, it ran to the high. So all the chip names catching a bid, and NVIDIA looks like it wants to close. Jinx. A second ago it was running toward the high of the day, but it turned into 111 and is now starting to pair off. Tesla making a power move as well. And it's just been a pretty strong day across the board, everybody. So yeah, I mean, Tesla's not green, but it's having a pretty good afternoon. Let's just say if it has a decent chance to go green in here. The momentum for most of the day was not very good. Tesla was one of the weakest names in the entire market. And all of a sudden it's starting to look a little bit better for this bad boy. But NVIDIA was a story here, dragging things or pushing a few things higher when that imbalance stayed. It is now pairing off. 1.9 million, 1.7 million. That's what you expect to see. You're never really going to see an imbalance outside of on an index day, do anything too crazy. A lot of times they're going to pair it off. On a big name like NVIDIA, there's always going to be buyers and sellers to take advantage of that liquidity wherever they see fit. But you take advantage where you can. Sometimes you look for that fade at 55. It doesn't happen. I suppose you could punch long if it stays. We usually look for the opposite trade. That's what I always try to look for.
All right. Yeah, same kind of thing there. Looking for a flip up in the market near the end of the day if we do get that. But it's now 358. So market really trying to hold these highs. It looks like we'll do a pretty good job of it on the NASDAQ. Basically go out where it's been for all afternoon. This level goes all the way back to 1 o'clock. So there was really not much going on at all for the last 2 hours. Unfortunately, JP Morgan coming back in here into the close pretty nicely too. Wonder if there was a sell imbalance on JP Morgan. So we were long out of that. And thankfully we were out of that. We don't have to wait around for too long to see where that one goes. But there goes JP Morgan down to the downside. Palantir doing its own thing. Intel as well. Wow, what a nice day for Intel after all. Intel only now down 1%. Like we are cratering down. Like Intel started at 20 down to 18. Like that's almost 10% right there on Intel. At one point it was down like 7 or 8% today to finish up. I mean, Intel could go, it's not going to go green because we're going to run out of time.
That's as good as finishing green.
That's as good as finishing green.
As far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I agree 1,000% with that one. Thank you so much to everybody joining Dara and I on the recap show where we may or may not have the Raider Trader. That should be fun if he does come on, but either way, it should be fun anyways. So here we go, Dara. Worksport. I can do it. Brought to you by Worksport, WKSP. With only 4 seconds to go, go check them out, investors.worksport.com. Yes. Wow, what a week that we go out there. Intel does not get green.
That came close.
A little bit of a change there for Intel as we get to the upside. We could check out what's going on with NVDA as well there, right at the close. Maybe a nice trade there for NVIDIA, going out near the highs up at 111. So something there as well, 111 for NVIDIA. All right, again, thank you, Long This, for the drink. And for everybody that super chatted the other day, that was absolutely fantastic. We probably had our largest super chat day of all time, I think, maybe. So we want to thank everybody for that as well. So,
and let's go Diego Lopez over the weekend. Joseph's pick that we put our Profit X dollars on. I will see. I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm not a big UFC guy. I have no idea. I probably won't even watch the fight, to be honest with you. But I'll certainly check to see what happens with it. I'm just keeping it real.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, let's be honest. When's the last UFC fight you watched?
I can't even remember.
Right. So you're definitely not watching.
Like, no, but like boxing. No, I might. It depends. Like,
you won't.
No.
Really?
It depends.
Okay.
If I stay up on Saturday and there's nothing else going on.
All right.
Assuming it's
You got
Saturday.
to pay for it.
Oh, you don't know. Well. Yes.
All right. Have a good weekend.
Yes.
I hope you don't stay up too late there on Saturday.
Yes, you have to pay for it. Yeah. No, you should. Everybody should always pay for everything. That is the honest and reasonable thing to always do in there. I'm one of those. If there's nothing better on sports-wise, I'll gravitate to something else. There's probably a baseball game that's playing on Saturday night that I'll like better if I'm up. That's real. But I'm usually watching sports if I'm staying up on a Saturday. It's just a matter of what ends up being the best, so I don't really care. If there isn't a good game, then I would check it out. But shout out to Joe for the pick. Shout out to Sharif for benching 305 pounds like it's nothing. Shout out to Fabian and Rameen's making us look good on the ones and twos. Appreciate it. Shout out to Obi who partook in the Long This beverages that we had. So and thank you so much to all of our viewers, especially Long This. We appreciate the super chats. Nimrod with the gifts. Bears versus Bulls doing a fantastic job as always. Oh my goodness, Nimrod with the super chat. And that's what I'm talking about, Nimrod. Got to read this one out. Super chat from Nimrod. Apple pie fund for Joe. Man can't be trading it without ever tasting it. I agree 100%. You can't be obsessed with the stock and not the dessert. Happy Passover Eve and spring blessings to everyone on screen and in the chat. Let's crush this quarter. Definitely agree with that sentiment. We appreciate you so much. Thank you, Nimrod. It's been an absolute blast this week. We're humbled to have great viewers like yourselves and everybody in our chat. It's the best trading community out there. And you know what? You get to have a little bit more of it. Sit back, relax. You got the Profit X recap show up at the desk with Sean and Adara. Let's go do it.
All right, here we are, guys. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Nimrod, for that. Also, the guy dropped 10 super chats as well.
Oh, my God.
That's about 100 US. Right
yeah,
there.
130.
So we want to say a big thank you to Nimrod again, dropping it down. Thank you so much for that. Adara, funny day because I came over here and asked you, like, what sector is down today? And you're like, every single one is up. And not only is every single sector up, but we're up more than 1% across the board on everything. So finally, we get that little bit of a rebound day today. And it was nice to see. Finally, you don't have to hide out anywhere. If you were long anything today, it looked like it was a good day. But on the week, though, was it a good week? Let's call up the TQQ, let's just call up the Qs and take a look at the NASDAQ. Today, the NASDAQ goes out up 1.77%. We actually had a pretty good run today of good PPI, of good inflation numbers. We had CPI come out on Thursday. PPI, or one of the days, PPI today as well coming out lower than expected. So both inflation-related numbers come out a little cooler, which is great. Fed talk, pretty positive this week, not too negative. We go out right there, so that was a very tumultuous week. We did have that high, but we do cover up yesterday's downside play. So we'll still hold out, see if the NASDAQ can bounce off some of these levels. Up to $500 is the 200 period moving average on the triple Qs. So we'll look to see if it can hold that, if we can get back there next week. We talked about maybe we can get up the earnings calendar. We'll do that at some point. Adair brought that to our attention. ASML, all of that, big time next week. Banks today. At JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, Wells Fargo, they all had pretty good reports. But if we go over here and just look to see what happened at the end of the day, whoops, JP Morgan was up nearly 5%, does give back a little bit there at the end, falling into 236, but again, a good level for JP. JP was in trouble, man. If we go over to a 15-minute chart, again, beat on the top, beat on the bottom line for JP Morgan. They were down here at $200 just a couple days ago. Nice to see it up to 236, 237 again. Wells Fargo, however, little opposite for them today as they get down over 1% on the day, but they had a nice run at the end of the day because I think we were a little bit weaker than that. Yeah, so a nice move there in the middle of the day, actually, for JP Morgan, getting some of that back. We also have Morgan Stanley right here at 108 coming into play as well. So a couple good names there today. Morgan Stanley up, JP Morgan up, Wells Fargo barely up, but the banks hold out good. Is that enough to give XLF? Yes, up 1.7%. So good job there. We talked about the TLT. As yields become more in focus, it was a nice downside push, and then it reversed hard at 11 o'clock. Not even sure what that move was about. I think it was just, again, maybe just a little exhausted there. The TLTs had a huge move back in as well. And we do want to remind everybody that the recap show is brought to you by ProfitX. So do make sure that you click the link in description. If you do that, you get 2% back up to $300. Make sure you go check out ProfitX if you are into sports gambling. You can even make markets on ProfitX, which is absolutely huge and great. All right, major data print came in at 10 a.m. That's consumer sentiment. So maybe that's what turned the TLTs a little bit there. But consumer sentiment comes in today at 50.8, down 30% from December 2024 print. Wow. Although a better 6.7% near-term inflation target. The Fed's Musalam and Williams talking today. Fed's Collins said that maybe action might be required if we can't get this inflation under control. But we'll just wait to see if that does happen. New highs a day on the market. Triple Qs. We can talk about the SPY. The SPY today, again, let's go back over and see where they broke. They broke out, everything broke out today around 130. That's going to be the high for the market on the S&P and the NASDAQ with the bar-coded action heading into the close. It was really strange today, Adair, because we didn't get anything from Trump.
No.
I mean,
not a single thing.
I
didn't. Something from Caroline Levitt, his press secretary. It was so funny. They asked her. They were like, "Oh, so what's happening here? Like, why does Donald Trump think that he can get tariff negotiations with China?" And she said, "Oh, well, they're talking. He's very optimistic. It's going to happen. He's going to make it happen." And they're like, "But why is he optimistic?" And she said, "He's very optimistic." Next question. So I don't really know if they know how this deal is going to happen.
Right.
That was the most interesting, from my opinion, from a tariff perspective standpoint. That was the most interesting. Like, they do not, if there are details on how they're going to get this negotiation with China, they either don't know or they're not sharing them with us. I thought that was really key because she had an opportunity to clear this up, like what their plan was.
Right.
And all she said was, he's optimistic.
We did have Fox Business contributor Charles Gasparino.
Yes.
Apparently came out and reported that President Trump is telling CEOs that deals are being done.
Yes.
Regards to tariffs.
And I want to say too, if you don't mind me, my buddy in here quickly, Charles Gasparino, I highly recommend following him on X. Now, regardless of, he's just a reporter on X, that's fine. The thing with Charles Gasparino is at least 3 days in the last, let's say 10, his tweets have moved the market. Remember that bounce we had last Friday?
Yes.
That bounce, Sean, happened because Charles Gasparino went on X and he said, Scott Bessent and Peter Navarro were like kind of on opposite sides of this Trump tariff situation, and Bessent is going to try to moderate Trump. And because he said that, those retail names had crazy moves. RH halted, Wayfair halted, names that you don't see halted. So I have followed Charles Gasparino on X because of that. You want to be able to see his tweets right away, and I find some tweets circulate really quickly, like Ming Chi Kuo. Charles Gasparino's do not, so I think he's a really good follow. Obviously, not everything's going to move the market, but it's very worth it to be aware when he posts. Yeah, so great, another great follow, along with TTV Research. And I mean, we're going to go over TTV Research right here. Shout out to Nimrod in the chat there. No, Joseph just he's never had pie, so I don't know how he doesn't prefer it. He has a personal beef with pie. I don't know exactly what it is. We'll ask him on the main day, but it's not a gluten thing. I never heard him say that. There's the bet. So that's one good follow, is what you had just mentioned, but a better one is TTV Research. So, thank you. Right there, we do have
big earnings. So if you're looking to see what's going to be reporting next week, maybe get my mug off there, Ramin, just real quickly here. Applied Digital's down there as well. Goldman Sachs, Johnson & Johnson. There's United coming through on Tuesday. These are all pre-market, post-market for United. Johnson & Johnson, Bank of America, Citigroup. So I think Citigroup could be one of the better banks right now. We'll see if that can get going on that. ASML giving us some chip love there as well. Those earnings coming pre-market, again, an Amsterdam company coming pre-market there in Europe, of course. So they'll have those on Wednesday. And economic data, retail sales, I think should be pretty important right there. Plus Fed talk. Fed's barking on Monday, barking on Tuesday, and then bar and daily coming through near the end of the week. So there's going to be talk there, and then we could just probably have Trump, maybe every single day as well next week. That should be Trump, Trump dump down in there. TSMC, again, a big one, pre-market on Thursday. So make sure you do join us. We do want to say a big thank you to everybody, record viewers this week, of course, as we had an absolutely insane run in the market. We could talk about all of these indexes. I mean, just look on the screen right now. URA, uranium. I'll just call this up so you guys can see what kind of a day we've had. Everything pretty much going to go out near the highs. FXI as well goes out near the high. Big China. Like the Chinese ETF today, this is large cap ETF for China. 4%, right? Chinese markets are closed. That's the crazy thing about this. We'll wait to see when they open up their Sunday night, what does wind up happening in China. If it's going to be another bullish day over there, look for continuation Monday. Go on in the U.S. markets. Gold, again, not at the highs. We did see TLT go down, so therefore, go up. Therefore, gold's going to come down there in the middle of the day, so that's a relationship there. But GLD, a nice upside move today as well. We talked a little bit about uranium already, up 5%. But stocks not following, man. SMR and everything. What's up, Joe? How you doing, my guy? Going through again. All right, TAN ETF going upside. XLV, we talked about UNH and how great that's been. They're going out at the highs as well. Let's take a quick look at the stock heat map for today. Wow. You know, we have that thing, Fabian, that he puts up. We're winning. We're always winning. But we put that, this is how funny it is. We should be putting that right now for today. There we go. There, for all the Trump supporters out there, how about this? You don't.
And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more.
More win. Today we win, and we win more. Look at this, man. All the haters out there, look, it's been a rough ride. I'm not going to sit here and say tariffs. This has been an exciting move. It hasn't been. It's been disastrous. But at the end of the day, today, that meme works, right? And it works in a positive way because you're getting everything up. I mean, how dare this stock be down NEE today, down minus 1.3%. Oracle, what's your problem? You're not winning. Oracle down 0.75 today as well. Most stocks that would be red today, including Texas Instruments, have a story behind them, right?
Yes.
So obviously that makes a lot of sense. Intel almost got back to Greensville, which is actually quite amazing to see the run that Intel had off the bottom. We were long down here on INTC. And again, the story with all of this was what? Again, with Intel and
Okay, so basically what happened is, so we know Intel and TSM are both, sorry, not TSM, TXN are both American manufacturing. We know Intel is very much considered American first. It was considered a Trump trade. I use this context to let you know that we did have the Chinese Semiconductor Industry Association, or the CSIA. According to Reuters, they basically put out a message, and they said, and this is, I don't think this has been confirmed yet, but they said it's very likely they're going to be giving some exemptions here to these U.S. companies that have manufacturing in China, specifically for chips. Why is that the case? Because if you're doing some manufacturing in Taiwan, take care, Fabian, or China, then that means that you're not technically a U.S. chip. But if your chips are only being manufactured in the U.S. and they're coming to China, those absolutely will be getting tariffed by roughly 84%. So that's kind of the situation there. Basically, any company, that's why AMD rallied this morning, any chip company that had any connection with regards to doing any manufacturing in China or Taiwan, that was a really good look. If you didn't, you had a little bit of a rougher time.
All right, so a great story. Thank you for that, Adara. And again, make sure you do sign up for our watch list. Every single day comes out around 8:15-ish, something like that. Maybe a little bit earlier than that.
A little bit earlier.
But yeah, 8:15, depending on how our mail server works, of course. But nice move to the upside there today in many stocks, including Intel, although it still winds up down 1%. This is why you got to watch out for these opens, right? I mean, Intel today 19.25. We had it written down on our sticky note to go short at 20, but that was in the pre-market where we were actually at 20, and then it drops all the way in to $18.20. Now, how low exactly was that? Well, that was almost at Tuesday's low of 17.65. We came right back into there. This is multi-year lows for Intel coming back in right now. You can't even see it, past my face. There's nothing there. It's low, low, low. Intel, again, was a $50 stock. We sort of poke fun at AMD and at Marvell and at some of those other names. But really, Intel destroyed a heck of a lot of money and downside. Reminds me of kind of like Rivian's burning through cash. Intel, not a nice look for INTC. I feel like it's a coiled spring. This on good news can get back up to the upside. There's Lip Bhutan announcement, huge move to the upside there as well. And we'll see, there it is right there on the gap. We'll see if that fade does hold. But I like Intel down here. I think there's some opportunities to buy that. Alibaba, some of the Chinese names again today. Huge move off the 200 period. We talked to many traders looking at levels. 200 period, very, very important. Looks like we do get that dip buy opportunity in Alibaba again, down there at $97. Good opportunity to get long off those lows up to 107. China really working right now. We did see, I wanted to see, we talked about this earlier, DIY. Didn't really look at it too much today. Yeah, pretty flat on the day. What did it do here? All right, so barcode, little move down and up. We'll maybe look at this on Monday. Just a small little Chinese name there. XLE oil today, Adara, also going out near the highs. So it's good to see energy. That's a good sign because we don't want to worry too much about recessions, right? And I mean, if oil is going to continue to the downside, that is going to be a problem, especially with China. Maybe production numbers going to go down there. Most of those factories running on oil. Obviously, you're going to need that to produce plastics, electronics, so on and so forth. So as we get to the downside, look at oil, though. If we even zoom in, you can see it's had a very, very kind of, I don't know what to do reaction right now in the market. So we'll still try to buy. And again, I'm trying to buy dips now into this level. I want to take probably a swing here on XLE. That's the the unit that I use to buy. You can get Chevron. Chevron's also pretty low. The good thing about Chevron, a nice little 4 to 5% dividend comes into play for CVX as well. So that's good. You could also look at XOM. The one name that I would stay away from a little bit, Occidental, again, the refiner. I mean, if you could come to the downside there, we had talked about Warren Buffett buying this name, and I thought it was at $60 was sort of the Buffett bottom there. Yeah, right into there. And then once that's broken, now there's nowhere to go with Occidental. It just looks like a pretty dramatic downside move there for Oxy on the weekly chart, getting all the way back to 21 levels right now for Occidental. So definitely broken, as opposed to an XOM where here's where Oxy is right now. They're back to 21 levels. XOM just chilling out. Wow. This is a great signature as well. Shout out to Joe again. That when you get to look back down into the 200 period on a weekly, XOM might be something that we want to look to get involved with right there. I don't think we've heard any stories, Adara, though, about Warren Buffett or Berkshire. Like, what are they doing? They were sitting on their largest cash position. I know you scroll Twitter and TweetDeck and all that. Have you heard anything about Berkshire, what they're doing?
Nope. So I was saying, Fabian had me pull up the year-to-date sector board, and Berkshire Hathaway up like 14% this year.
Amazing.
Great look for Berkshire. There's another name I wanted to mention on the weekly chart. We talked about it yesterday. It's UNH. UNH, I just put this in the chat. So out of the last, I'll literally just pull up the chart here. Out of the last 7 weeks, UNH has only had one red week. And that one red week, it was down less than 1%. So UNH continuing to push to the upside.
It was only red 1% that week of Mangione, unfortunately?
Oh, no. I mean the last 7 weeks.
Oh, last 7 weeks.
That doesn't count that. No, the Mangione week, I think we were a lot. It's funny, we actually, the Mangione week that would be right here, we were down 9%.
Okay.
Almost 10%. But it's funny, the Mangione week, we actually bought up initially and then sold off after the fact. There's another chart I wanted to pull up here too, though. For Normal Special in the chat saying, can we look at Take Two? I put lines on this just now because I actually love this chart. So look at this weekly chart on Take Two. We've got a trend line. This beautiful trend line starts here coming through November 2022. Basically, since then, we've basically been in this uptrend. Then I drew a speed line because this trend accelerates here starting in August 2024. Actually, this is August 5th. So we really bought that dip, bought that bounce on the August 5th sell-off. This is a great weekly chart. Daily looks pretty similar too. And on this daily, look at this like flat top breakout level here. That 193. So we have that level, we gap. We do get a little bit below it in the last few days, but we're able to come right back above it. I like the 193, I like the uptrend, and I like the speed lines and normal special. Thank you for bringing this chart to my attention because it looks really good, and honestly, it looks like we're also near all-time highs. We got above this double top previously. Can take two, have a take three at breaking this high because we've already tried it twice.
So Take Two is a name that I should be in. We've been talking about that for a while, Adair. That's a Grand Theft Auto.
It is.
So that's what they're,
Pew, pew, pew.
that will be released hopefully, I think it's around Christmas of this year.
I have a question too. Have you seen those memes like, oh, we got whatever before GTA 6? Those are so funny. Like people comment on YouTube. Like if people are surprised by like a combo, like there's this, for example, like I was watching this On the Radar freestyle for this like rapper Georgiana, and they're like, oh, we got like this girl rapping before GTA 6, right? Like it'll be like things you don't expect before GTA 6.
Right,
I'm not doing it any justice, but it'll just be like unexpected things. I can't believe we got that before. We got just the whole joke. It's taking so long to get
Yeah, I think
here.
the last one was like maybe 5 or 6 years ago.
No, the last one I was in high school. I was in like middle school, or high school when GTA 5 came out.
Really?
If it was after 2016, I would be shocked.
All right.
It's been years. I'm gonna look this up.
Now we might as well look it up.
It came out in 2013. Oh, okay. So I was 13.
Wow. So wow, that is almost a decade, well, more than a decade. Now coming out. All right, yes, Adara, please get it. All right, what's up to Sharif over there? All right, 525 right there. This is Berkshire. I mean, wow. We'll talk about what like. Again, this is a daily 200, not a weekly, man. Most stocks are trying to get like that XOM chart I showed you. That's a weekly. Berkshire almost all the way back as if we're not even in this sort of down pull in the market. Again, cash is king, right? This guy knows what he's doing, invested in insurance companies, so on and so forth. Berkshire, Coke. KO's actually having a decent time as well. Almost back to the highs there for Coke. So this has been a big play for him as well. I think he got lighter on the banks, so not having an effect. Before the super chat disappears, I do want to make sure that we do say a big shout out again to Nimrod, to Long This, and to everybody that super chatted us this week.
Thank you.
We want to say a big thank you for that, man. A record week for all of that. And we don't ask for them. You know, I know Joe got a little emotional there on the show when he took a hit on his options, and you guys definitely support that. So thank you so much, man. We really appreciate that. It was fun to have that drink with everybody live on the air. Now these jokers, they only make noise at the end of the day.
They're so
here,
loud.
which is very, very loud today, which is
I'm
fine.
like, oh my God.
That's all good. We'll figure it out. Yeah, Joe does eat some dirty foods. I see that in the chat, but he's just not a pie guy. I mean, look, health is everyone around here. Neil, I'm the only, like Neil, Sharif, Joe, even myself, I'm trying to get that. I know you ever hit the gym? I know you walking back and forth.
So I work out at home. I don't work out at the gym because I will fall asleep if I work out after work, and then the gym's open like I get here really early, right? So I work out at home in the morning. I'll put on like some music or a podcast or some Law and Order. I'll just I try to work out every single day. That's the goal. But I also power walk everywhere as well. Also, there's the thing I wanted to mention too. You're talking about Buffett. So I forgot I actually had this infographic. This is the most up-to-date Buffett portfolio we have. Here was how he boosted. These are like the most significant stocks. How he boosted his portfolio as of Q4 2024. So obviously we don't have the Q1 2025 13 Fs yet, but he added a whole bunch here to his DPZ. Nice add to Pool, Siri, and then this VRS and I think Verisign and Occidental. Verisign was also one of the top S&P names this year, or this so far, so great look. But I also, let's talk about his decreases. He sold all his SPY. He sold all his Ulta Beauty. He did a really good job of cutting things that he needed to cut. Cut a lot of his Citigroup, cut a lot of his NU.
Look at the VOO.
His communication names got a cut. Capital One Financial, he cut some TMUS, probably the only bad decision here because T-Mobile actually had a really good quarter. But anyways, this is like as of Q4 2024. Here are his additions and his subtractions to his portfolio. I had that like lying around on X and I forgot it existed, so here you are.
I never understood Pool to begin with, and if you look at the chart,
Ulta made no sense.
Yeah, well, Ulta, okay.
Adding Ulta made no sense.
But Pool's down, so I bet you we cut that one. I mean, talk about, if any want to know what VOO was, VOO is the spider. It's the S&P 500. It's just Vanguard's version. So if he sold it that was Q4, I think you mentioned?
Yeah.
So end of Q4 here, December. So yeah, that's, I mean, I don't know when exactly he sold, but anywhere in here, I would say that's a win right there between October and December, selling out of the S&P 500 to the downside. Someone in the chat, I think it was you, Jay Lee, said, yeah, he's smart. He's thinking about lower. I bet, I mean, I don't, like if you're selling, I bet you the VOO will be an addition, I'm pretty sure, the next time we see that filing. So we'll wait for the next S3 to come for Berkshire. But again, that's the Vanguard. Vanguard actually, I think it had overtaken SPY in total assets under management there for VOO. SPY is much more day traded than options wise and all that. So people using SPY for a day trade, VOO more to store money. I don't know what the difference is other than maybe lower management fees, but they mimic each other. So thanks, Darren. And again, go to Trader TV Research, TTV Research, and follow myself as well. I retweeted something out there today that showed all of that. So that was a great opportunity to get a check there. All right, yeah, Constellation Brands, yeah. I mean, I don't know what's going on with Tilray. Some of these puff pass names. This has been absolutely destroyed. I mean, if we go over to Tilray or, I mean, any of these other names too, there's Canopy. I don't even know how to show this, but like, you know, if we go all the way back to 2018, this is $170 Tilray right there. It's going to be split adjusted, but right now you're down to 50 cents. Like, talk about Mullen, talk about all these other names that have been completely destroyed. I think this just goes to show if you're going to be in these names, then what you really want to do is you want to be in them for a short period of time. You don't need to be in them for a long, because unless you know something, these weed names, there's also MindMed, MNMD, MindMed, another one. Look at the weekly on this, man. $58 down to $5 right now. So you may believe in psilocybin and all that kind of stuff, but again, not a profitable business as of yet. So watch out for MindMed coming through there. Yeah, weed is old news, man. I mean, I don't ever hear anything about it. So it's not even on the docket anymore. It got, yeah.
They had to say puff, puff, pass and move on to a different sector. What can I say?
I always use the puff, puff, pass. That was a good one. Where you're just like, it got smoked or it's smoked. Yeah. So good little look there for MindMed as we continue here. So, all right. Other than that, you did talk about UNH. UNH has had some great moves there. Eli Lilly's had some big moves as well. It's not all sectors have been hit. I mean, mainly the NASDAQ is going to be the big one that we talk about over and over again. I mean, a key name, maybe Pfizer, that's been hit to the downside. You could pick something up down here. What you're looking at when you're talking about pipeline companies is what is in the, for drug companies is what is in the pipeline and what are they working on. So you got to do a little bit more research into that. All right, heading into next week with those earnings, let's talk maybe a little bit about what we expect from the market. So if we look at the QQQs here, if we call up a weekly chart for the NASDAQ, you're just going to see here, like the last time that we dipped down here in 2022, we had bounced off the weekly. This is a 200 period moving average. So that was a great bounce, right? We had tested it a couple of times. We even have some wick bottoms. Remember, this is weekly, so we're not panicking here. We're not looking at dailies. We're looking at weeklies to get a bigger idea. Even during COVID, when we fell from 230 down to 165, it's actually a very similar move percentage-wise to what we're experiencing right now into the bear market for NASDAQ. But even then, we still, I don't know how far, okay, I was gonna say, let's see how far we can go back. This goes all the way back into 2013. So just for some of the bears in the chat, look, you guys have been right. There's no doubt about that. Get my mug off there for a minute, Fabian, if you can, because I just want to show you guys, here's the 200 period going all the way back, Adara, to when GTA 5 was released back here in 2013. Funny how it comes back in, yeah. So all the way back then, we had one touch back here in 2015. We had another one in 18, and then here we go. There's COVID. There we go again back in 22 when everything fell back in. I mean, that wasn't too long ago, so we don't need to worry about that. That comes back in. And right now, so if we're looking for areas, now let's zoom in a bit. All of these were orchestrated, right? We had COVID, we had great financial crisis, which we just showed you back there. Well, we didn't even get back that far to 2008, but this can be changed. We've seen by one tweet. We talked about Charles Gasparino. We talked about, hey, everything's fine with China. We got a deal. Like, what's going to happen when that gets tweeted out? What's going to happen when that gets talked about, right? China right now is slapping the United States with more tariffs, and the United States is coming right back at it. But this is giving you an idea, maybe, on where we could go in and buy these dips. This is a generational moment. We just showed you back 13 years, we don't really have a break of this this 200 period moving average. So when there's blood in the streets, we have to look for some kind of support. I think it looks pretty decent down here at 377. So for me, I think that would be an area to buy. Now remember, where we are right now is nowhere near there. So if we go back up to the day, remember the magic number 377, you're still at 450. So you're gonna have to get clocked about another 10, 12, 15% to get down to those levels. Could that happen, Adara?
I don't know.
Rhetorical question. Yes, it can, I feel.
Everything can.
I mean, we've come in here on one day and the NASDAQ's been down early 6, 7% right away. We actually had that yesterday where we thought we were going to go limit down on the NASDAQ, but we did not. Oh my, Fabian, check out the time. We're almost at 4:30.
I think it might be Ramin.
Oh, it's Ramin.
You've been,
The chair's in the way. I've been saying Fabian.
I think the thing is because they
Where's the
dark
fail
hair.
thing?
They have the long dark hair. Sometimes, I'm not going to lie, and I've said this too, sometimes like you don't know. You have to ask.
No, but I should know that because we said bye to Fabian when he left.
That's how I knew, because we said bye to Fabian. That's the only reason I knew, because I can't see her from behind the monitor. But yeah, I know it was Ramin.
There it is. Thank you so much.
She's like, shut up, guys.
I like that. See, I like the remix action. That's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. It's like you're in the club, like remix. All right, we've lost our minds here. It is Friday. It's been a super week, man. Thank you so much for joining us. All those super chats that came in this week, we set a record on that. We want to thank you for that. I've been speaking to Brendan about this. We're going out, Adara. We're taking everybody out.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Say what? We're going out?
You're gonna get your dancing shoes on or something? Yeah, we're gonna go out. I think we can go to the ballroom or something like that, throw down some bowling, throw down some drinks, do all of that. So we're gonna be organizing that in the next couple weeks, and we wanna thank everybody for that because it is what it is.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man, we did it last time. It was a hell of a lot of fun. So I was just like, Brenda, we gotta do something. Or like, yeah, I know you do, Ramin. Or Ramin has social anxiety.
You just put the girl on blast.
She doesn't, though. That's the thing. There's no way she does. That's why. I mean, I'm not. Okay, or we just have, you know what? If that's true, then maybe we'll rent a box at the Skydome or the Rogers Center.
We'll get
we'll watch a Jays game.
Yeah, we'll just like fly a bowling.
You know what else is really fun that we could do? Go-karting.
Oh!
Then I'll run people off, like, we'll run them off. Yeah, me and Ramin. We'll be like a secret team. We'll be like running Sharif right off the course.
I like that.
That'd be hilarious, man. We're definitely going after Sharif if we can do that one. How about the three of us? We'll have like a little secret team.
I'm down. I can't
we'll
like
bump the guys.
drive, so you guys will have to like help me. I'll just bump people.
Even better. If you can't see anything, that'll be even better. Then we'll have an excuse. Sorry, Sharif, I didn't see you.
I'm down.
You know what I'm saying? Or what about mini golf?
I'm down. I have not in many moons, but I'm excited.
Have you ever participated in paintball?
Not once,
Nor have I.
Really?
But I think that would be fun.
That'd be really fun. I remember laser tag was a huge thing when I was
laser tag. Laser Quest was the, they're all gone now. That was the name.
Okay, we didn't have that obviously in Manitoba, so that's why I hadn't heard of that. But yeah, we did have one laser tag place outside of the city, and it was really good.
Yeah, people were like, we're going to go after Sharif. Yeah, we're just going to run them off the track is what we're trying to do. But we would never do that,
no.
Of course.
All jokes, all love. Go team.
Potentially we would. Okay, what's up? It's time for roll call. We want to thank everybody for staying with us. Over 3,000 of you stayed late, and we definitely appreciate that on a Friday. You know what, Darren and I have a lot of fun on the show. We want to thank everybody for staying with us here right now. I cannot do anything without thanking Nimrod and Long This and every single I just can't really remember anybody else. Everybody else that had super chatted all day today. It doesn't really matter the number that you guys have given us, but we just want to say thank you to everybody for super chatting. It does mean a lot to us and does help us with the show and all of that. And by the way, we are going through major renovations. You're going to see something very, very soon. We're very proud to do that. And I'm very excited to show you what's going to happen. You've never seen anything like this. I'll tell you that.
It's the greatest. It's the greatest renovation.
It's going to be one of the greatest renovations you've ever seen of all time.
You've never seen one better.
It's going to be incredible. It's going to be a lot of winning on the renovation side. What's up, Dinko Bird? Yeah, by DJT or something.
You've decided DJT because he signs all those DJT.
What's that? SCC. Those are my initials right there. You want to guess what my middle name is?
I like that your initials are SCC. That's amazing. Okay, I'm gonna go. I want to go Italian, but I also don't want to be too over the top with it. So I'm gonna go Edward.
What?
Edward?
My initials are SCC.
Oh, I thought it was SEC.
CC.
Okay, the C I don't. I was so confident with.
What do you guys think in the chat?
Okay, I'm gonna try one more time. Carl. I'm not confident in that guess.
All right, it's roll call time. It's not. I mean, a true Italian named Carl. So here we go.
It was.
All right, let's go. What's up, Mauricio? Mauricio. I mean, if it was M, you could have said Mauricio at least. I actually
I would probably if it was.
I have an Argentinian friend, Mauricio. If my daughter was a boy, I was gonna go there or Mateo.
Mateo's a good name.
I like those names. Or we had Luca.
Lucas are, yeah,
As
Lucas
well.
are a good
So
name.
we had a Luca here as well. So shout out to
shout
that.
out to Luca.
Oh, what's up, Vasil here? What's up to Wall Street Only? What's up, Guarev? Hey, Guarev, how's it going? Joseph Birch Music is here. Sam is here. What's up? DC Charlie's here. Swivzer is here as well. XDAMI is here. Another Marcello's in the building right there. What's up, Marcello? And everybody else, Shenanigans and all of that. Anybody that, maybe not in the chat, but anyone we want to say hi to?
I want to shout out everybody. Thank you so much for being here with us every single day. And guess what? We'll be there back after the weekend. Thank you, chat. Thank you very much to Bears vs. Bulls and this whole team and Ramin and the go-karts or whatever we end up driving or doing. Thank you guys for making this possible. Love this team. So happy to be here every day. But we're going to be back here after.
All right, I have a funny, I have a topical thing to do.
So excited.
Okay, this is Adara's favorite video game.
Oh, Design Home.
Design Home, I like that. My wife loves Sims, so there's lots of stuff to do there
cool, yeah.
as well. So shout out to Adara there. That's fun. We do that every day, so make sure you stay late to find out some fun things about each one of us.
do that.
All right, thank you so much for joining again. Thanks for me for staying late. Thank you to everybody again. What a week, man. Go home, give the ones you love big hugs, all of that. It was a wild week, and guess what? The markets open up again at 9:30. On Monday. But join us here at 8:30 as we go over everything, grab our watch list, grab all of that. Thank you, Adara, for a great week. And thank you to everybody for watching. Until Monday, we'll see you then.
See ya.